見上げてごらん、夜空の星を。
Okay, so we're gonna hope that this works. I'm gonna turn down the music for you guys a little bit. Welcome to a sky full of stars. I've been trying to stream for the past several days and have been and it's still happening a little bit. So I'm just going to check that it's still working while I talk. But okay, it looks like it's working okay. I've been having issues where the KBS on Streamlabs has been going down to completely unacceptable levels, which has been very frustrating for me. It's still kind of hovering where I want it, but not really. So, and it's weird because there's literally nobody else on the internet right now. I'm the only one at home. So we're gonna give this a try for at least an hour or two. We're going to load. Yes. Zeta Flare, hi! Welcome to stream. You've been lying to us this whole time anyway. Our planetary observation journal was in terrible shape. Just like us. Ooh, flashbacks. From that day on, I could no longer look at the stars. Oh, okay. Who are you?
高価な望遠鏡より一人一つの双眼鏡をモットーに活動しております。
We made no pricey telescope, binoculars for all our motto.
ですので、これはちょっと。
And so all of this is kind of, well, the president of the Moromisawa Technical Institute's astronomy club was dressed in a black uniform coat with a high collar. He spoke with a gentle, apologetic tone that didn't match his expression. As if to put an end to his reluctance, another voice interrupted.
But really, it's out of the question. Not a chance.
The girl with the harsh voice and shaking ponytails was Nishi High's club president. Ooh, Orihime sad. So is Hanuka. Oh dear. Listening to their objections, the pair from Mako Academy, the club president from Amahai, and I all stared at the papers in our hands. There was the sense of danger in the air. How did we end up here again? 30 minutes earlier. Ooh.
ようこそおいでくださいました。皆様。
Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming.
こうして天文を愛する仲間たちと一堂に会することができたことを
心より嬉しく思います。
I'm genuinely pleased to be able to meet with so many others who share our love of astronomy.
Orihime looked hopefully at each of us. She was celebrating the auspicious first meeting of the newly revived Six Stars Club.
まずは各校代表者に自己紹介をしていただきましょうか。
Shall we start by having each school's representative introduce
で
themselves?
は私から明光学院天文部前部長タイエタの白鳥織姫3年です。
Alright then, I shall start. I'm a third year and the former president of the Mako Academy Astronomy Club, Orihime Shiratori Tegea. Oh, why are my sound alerts?
Now you must die.
My sound alerts are being stupid. Oh lord. It dropped down again, really bad. Ugh. Ugh, I thought it was fixed. No. I thought it was fixed. Alright, well.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna turn that off. See if that. Fix it later. But it was so bad. I don't know what the heck's going on. It was fine before, and now it's okay. Fuck. It's been doing this to me for the last, like, several days. We didn't notice? Oh, okay. Well, if you guys didn't notice, I'll try to bring it up again. 'Cause, like, bruh. I assumed that your sad face was the fucking stream not working. 'Cause the KBS dropped down a lot. I'm gonna try this again. Hang on.
見上げてごらん。夜空の星を。
夜空の星を。Okay, well, if we didn't notice, then I don't fucking care. Let me just check really quick, cause like... Okay, it seems to be okay. So let's just try this shit again.
人生にもロード機能があればいいのに。
Okay. Yes, load the data for the love of God. Put it on skip until I get to where I was. Although please let me know if the quality isn't great, because, like, it's been stupid. It should only skip what I've seen so far. Okay. So she introduced herself. Yay! A quiet round of applause.
同じく1年で現部長の吉岡です。
I'm Hanukkah, a first year and current club president here at Mako.
Everyone likely already knew them both, and the response felt rehearsed. At Orihime's urging, the girl next to her stood up.
天の中天文部部長エレクトラの加納典子です。
She cute.
2年生です。よろしくお願いします。
I'm the Amanonaka Astronomy Club president, Noriko Kanao of Electra. Oh, and I'm in the second year. Nice to meet you.
She was obviously quite nervous. Amanonaka, known as Amahai, is a public school on the very southern edge of Hoshinonaka City in what used to be Amanonaka City. It was on the newly developed seaward side of town, and although it was a public school, it had a metropolitan atmosphere that all the young people in town found really attractive. Even the uniform had a sophisticated, stylish look. Speaking of, according to what Hanukkah had said a few days earlier, Amahai's astronomy club had only had one member, just like ours. I can't read. Which would of course make her the sole member. I can't read! The president from Amahai sat down with a relieved expression, and the next person stood.
天の中西地学部部長の女だ。
I'm the Earth Science Club president of Amanonaka Nishihai, and I'm... what was it again?
アルキオネです。
ああ、そうそう。アルキオネのジンのナルエ。2年だ。よろしくな。
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm Noroi Jino of Alcyone, second year high. Oh, okay. The club president from Anononaka Nishi High School, usually known as Nishi High, gave a casual greeting. The way she looked around at everyone, whipping her ponytails, she whips her hair back and forth, without a trace of timidity, gave everyone the feeling she was not one to compromise. She had used the name Earth Sciences Club, but in lots of schools, astronomy and earth sciences are combined. Actually, in some so-called Earth Sciences clubs, they only did astronomy. Although I didn't know if that was the case at Nishi High. Just like Daiichi, it was a perfectly normal public school, but Hanaka had said it once had the most active group of all. Hadn't she said it once had as many as 36 members? Narue's intense confidence might have something to do with that history. After her, a large, muscular boy in a long black school coat stood up.
諸見沢工業天文部部長ケラエノの田尻であります。2年です。どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Is this boy okay? I'm Kisuke Selena, president of the Moromisawa Technical Institute Astronomy Club, second year. Thank you for having me. The club president from the vocational boys' school, Moromisawa Technical, usually called Moromi, gave an enthusiastic spirit club style introduction. Moromi was on the north edge of what is now Hoshinonaka City, and what used to be Hoshino City. It was so far away that I didn't know much about it. Just judging by first impressions, he didn't really seem the astronomy type. In fact, his build seemed more suited for playing center on the basketball team.
好きな星座はオリオン座です。あのたくましさに憧れます。
My favorite constellation is Orion. I find his strength inspiring. For some reason, he blushed as he spoke.
わかります。星座の形も整ってて美しいですし。
Oh, I agree. The constellation's shape is clear and beautiful.
いろいろと見応えあっていいよね。初心者向けって感じだけど。
Yeah, it's a nice one, but honestly, it's for amateurs. And just as it seemed some conversation was starting off, all eyes turned to me, the only one left. As I stood up and started to introduce myself, I suddenly wanted to make it as short as possible. It's not like I was nervous or anything, it's just that something had started to bother me. Tegeta, Electra, Alcyone. What the hell were they talking about? I'm only a first year, but I'm the president of Hoshino Daiichi's astronomy club, Akido Sarami.
あなたにも教えたはずよ。星野第一に冠された特別な名を。
I believe I told you before, yes? What was the special name bestowed on Hoshino Daiichi?
Mamma Mia.
マイヤです。
Maya.
彼こそがプレアデス7姉妹の長女の名を持つマイヤの空見明人よ。
This young man bears the name of the eldest of the seven sisters, Akita Sarami of Maya.
Everyone made a ooh sound and there was scattered clapping. What was with this weird atmosphere? So, what exactly does that mean anyway?
プレアデス星団をご存知ないのですか？
Do you not know the Pleiades cluster?
Yeah, that much I know.
The Pleiades cluster was a beautiful star cluster that ruled the winter sky, beloved by astronomy fans everywhere. The Japanese name was Subaru.
Love, it's what makes a Subaru.
Since it was used by the car manufacturer, lots of people knew that name. The Pleiades cluster had a lot of other names, one of which was the Six Stars. I'm gonna just...
Nah, that's not as cute. Whatever. I guess it got that name because when you look up with the naked eye, it seems to be made up of 6 bright stars, but I don't know for sure. They say people with really good eyes can discover a 7th, 8th, or even more stars within it. Long ago, when the stars at night were brighter, there were apparently someone who was able to make out more than 20 distinct stars.
プレアデス星団のうち明るい7つの星にはそれぞれ美しい姉妹の名が付けられているのよ。
Within the Pleiades cluster, the 7 brightest stars all bear the names of one of 7 beautiful sisters.
長女マイヤ、エレクトラ、タイエタ、アルキオネ、ケラエノ、アステローペ、そして末の妹メローペ。
The eldest is Maya, then Electra, Taygeta, Alcyone, Seleno, Esterope, and their youngest Merope.
星になる前の彼女たちは月の女神アルテミスに仕える侍女だったの。
Before they were turned into stars, these women were nymphs who served Artemis, goddess of the moon. I know that the stars in the Pleiades cluster all had names, but I didn't know each name nor where they had come from. And anyway, the term star cluster refers to a massive group of stars all in one place. In the Pleiades, the naked eye can make out 6 or maybe 7 stars. However, with a telescope, you can see tons of stars all crowded together. In reality, it's a cloud of young stars gathered around a point in space about 443 light years away. That cloud is considered to be one celestial object and has been given the designation M45, more commonly called the Pleiades cluster. No, that's not what I meant. I meant, what do those 7 sisters have to do with our school? Orihime had this, oh no, not again, look on her face.
私たちはムツラボシの会よ。
We're the Six Stars Club, aren't we?
ムツラボシとはプレアデス星団の別名。我々がそれぞれに姉妹の名を持つのは当然の成り行きではないかしら。
The Six Stars is another name for the Pleiades cluster, so of course it's only natural for us to each take one of the sisters' names, right? I didn't really think it was all that natural. I mean, the numbers don't add up, for one thing. Where was little Merope?
あんたの気持ちはわかる。星野第一さん。けど、それが昔からの習わしなんだってさ。
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Daiichi, but it's like a tradition, okay? The president from Nishihai said, her voice full of resignation. So this was something the alumni decided, huh? They must have really enjoyed the whole thing. There's no way I'm going to remember all that. It's way too complicated. Why don't we just stop it?
心配はご無用です。この名はいわば秘密の名ですので、普段口にすることはありません。
There's no need for concern. These are secret names, you see, so there's rarely ever a need to use them. All the other members, besides Orihime, seemed to relax at Hanaka's words. Orihime looked like she actually wanted to use those names all the time.
今回誠に残念ながらアステローペ、すなわち聖戦女子の方々にはご参加いただけませんでした。
Sadly, Asterope, I mean, the Seisen Girls' School was not able to join us
て
today.
か、あそこってまだ活動してんの？
Are they still even, like, active?
一応天文部は存在しているようです。実態は不明ですが。
Well, they do appear to have an astronomy club. Their current situation, however, is unclear. The Seisen Girls' School was a public all-girl high school, and their academic level was the highest in the area. It was an old school, predating the Second World War, and was known for its really rigid school traditions. It's unlikely that the students would be comfortable mingling unofficially with people from other schools. Orihime's announcement seemed to take the cheer out of everyone. This might be a little difficult to get out of. If I stood up and said I wasn't going to participate now, I wondered what kind of look they would give me. I decided to wait until the meeting finished and quietly let Orihime know.
はい、質問よろしいでしょうか。
Excuse me, may I ask a question? The president from Moromisawa raised his hand
ど
up.
うぞ。
Proceed.
ムツラボシの会を復活させる目的は各校天文部の活性化にあると聞きました。
I heard that the goal of reviving the Six Stars Club is to revitalize the astronomy clubs at each school. Orihime nodded gracefully.
そのための具体的な方策はあるのでしょうか。
Do you have a concrete plan as to how that will work?
確かに。ただ集まって星を見るだけじゃ普通の合同観測会と変わらないわよね。
Good question. It's quite true that coming together and looking at the stars is basically what we already do. Orihime had a small smile to match her confident expression.
吉岡、
Hanukkah? Hanukkah handed everyone a sheet of paper. It was a list of the club members at every school and a summary of their equipment.
ご覧の通り、我々が所有する機材はお世辞にも充実しているとは言えませ
As
ん。
you can see, the equipment we have access to is not what anyone would call sufficient. On close study, it looked like the most expensive piece was Mako Academy's reflecting telescope. The aperture wasn't so great, but apparently it had an equatorial mount. Apart from that, Nishihai had a digital single-lens reflex camera with a wide-angle lens for night sky photography that looked pretty expensive. Moromisawa was like our school. They only had beginner stuff. And then we came to Amahai, who didn't even have a telescope.
我が明光学院天文部もかつて部員数がゼロになり、 休部となった時期がありました。
Here at Mako Academy, there was a time we didn't have a single member and the club was closed down.
その期間に多くの機材や備品が紛失し、今も出てきていません。
During that time, a lot of equipment and fixtures went missing and we still haven't tracked them down.
嘆かわしい。
A terrible loss. I wondered if it had been thrown away or put in some storage building or if maybe someone had just taken it. Our club probably had a similar problem.
このままではたとえ6校集まったとしても、より高度な
So at
活
this
動は
stage,
行え
even
ない
if
わ。
all 6 schools got together, we couldn't really accomplish anything of note anyway.
そこで私は提案しま
And
す。
so, I have a suggestion.
皆で資金を出し合って天体望遠鏡を購入しようじゃありませんか。
Why don't we all put some money down and purchase a proper astronomical telescope? Orihime's proposal caused a bit of commotion.
その望遠鏡は新星ムツラ星の希望となり、
That
結束
telescope
の
will become a
象徴と
symbol
な
of
る
the
でしょ
new
う。
Six Stars Club's hopes and solidarity.
いいかもしれないね。っていうか、そのくらいのメリットがないと一緒にやる意味が
That
ない
actually
よ。
sounds pretty good. To tell the truth, if there weren't any real benefits like this, it wouldn't be worth joining.
そうかもしれませんね。
That might be true.
うち望遠鏡を持ってないん
We
で
don't have a telescope at
So
all, so
stay
I'd be
together.
really grateful if we could actually do this. While all the other school reps were busy reacting, I asked a question. About how much money are we talking? Despite having no intentions of joining, I went and asked a silly question.
費用の内訳と各校の負担は2枚目の用紙にまとめてあ
I
ります。
prepared a breakdown of the costs and each school's contribution on page 2. Everyone turned the page, and then recoiled in horror.
なんじゃこ
What the? Audible gasp. Ada, Ada,
どうかなさいまして。
is there a problem? I understood why everyone was so shocked. The prices written there went quite beyond everyone just chipping in a bit.
ご安心ください。不参加の聖戦女子の分は我が校が負担します。
Everyone, please relax. Our school will cover the contribution from Seisen since they can't join.
そういう問題じゃないでしょ。これ
Yeah, that's not the problem here.
そうですね。
I have to agree.
Mhm.
Oh? It looked like Orihime genuinely didn't see what the problem was. The price they'd written was almost equal to a full month's part-time wages. For clubs like ours that were having issues with membership numbers, our budgets would never come close to covering an expense like that. Of course, to buy a really good telescope, it really would cost about that much.
より高度な活動を行っていくためですのよ。そのための出費ならば仕方がありま
But
せ
we
ん
really
わ。
want to do more high-level activities, don't we? If so, then this is the price we have to pay.
後々後輩たちに受け継がれることを考え
Think
て
of the
も、
future of the
中途半
students
端なも
coming
ので
after
済ま
us.
せるわけ
Shouldn't we
に
do
は参り
everything
ませ
within our
ん。
power to leave them with only the best?
うちは高価な望遠鏡より一人一つ
We
の
made
双
no
眼鏡
pricey telescopes,
をモットーに
binoculars
活
for
動
all,
してお
our
ります。
motto.
ですので、
And so,
これ
all
は
of
ちょ
this
っ
is
と
kind of, well...
つうか、論外っしょ。ありえ
But
ない。
really, it's out of the question. Not a chance. That's what she's
こん
doing.
なお金あったらカメラのレンズ買うっ
If we
つうの
had this kind of scratch, we could just buy better lens for our camera. This is ridiculous. The president from Nishi High stood up, waving the paper in disgust as she spoke.
悪いけどうちら抜けさせても
Sorry,
らうわ。
but we're out.
金額にご不満なら話し合いで。
If it's just a matter of money, we can talk about it. It looked like Norway was in no mood to listen anymore.
しょっぱなからこれ出してくる人が仕切ってるところでまともに活動できる
Seriously,
とは
I don't
思
think
え
I
ない
can
わ。
work under the direction of people who think this is a good way to start things off.
合同観測会とかあるなら喜んで参加するか
If
ら
you guys
さ。
ever want to have,
ま
if you guys
今
ever
まで
want to have
通
to
り
go
仲良くして
stargazing or
ちょうだい。
something, that'd be cool. We can still be friends later. Ooh.
自分も
Yeah, same here. Moromi's president stood up sadly.
待ってちょうだい。これは天文の発展と
Please wait, this is
これから
necessary
天
for
文の
advancing
道を
in the field of
志す後輩
astronomy
たちの
and
た
for
めに
those
必
who will
要な
follow
こ
us
と
on
な
the
のよ。
path of astronomy.
もし不満がおあり
If
な
you're
ら
not happy with
せ
it,
めて
then at
話
the
し合
very
って
least at the very least talk to us about it.
うちは今の活動で
We're
満
already
足し
happy
てい
with the
ま
way
すので
things have been going. Keisuke made us polite goodbyes and left.
そんな。
Two schools had already left, and we were only 30 minutes into the first meeting. Everyone is staring in silent shock, as if they couldn't understand what had happened. Left behind, I thought to myself, I waited way too long. I'd missed my chance to say I wasn't going to join. The sun and the moon traveled around the earth.
エントロピーの増大ですわ。
And so entropy increases, the ultimate fate of the universe. Is this suddenly Madoka Magica? Like, bruh. Muttering under her breath, Orihime sat in the corner of the club room, hugging her knees and spinning the spherical astrolabe. She'd been so enthusiastic, and now she was an empty shell.
会長、元気を出
Please,
してく
Miss
ださい。
President, do cheer up.
そうです。まだ3つの学校が残っているわけですし。
I was certain she was still counting my school, Hoshino Daiichi. As I thought about it, I drank the aromatic tea and ate the candied fruit Hanuka had given me. I really enjoyed the sugary treats. Apparently, they had bought these from a really famous and expensive shop just for today's meeting. Hi, Tifa! Hagu. You okay?
Here it is, the Sugar Plum Princess. Kind, clever, and brave.
That's
it.
Anyway, hi. I'm hoping that this is working. It was another sign of just how into this they all were.
すべて私のせいだわ。
This is all my fault. This all happened because I don't know
私が
anything
世
about
間
the
知ら
real
ずのば
world.
かりに。
She'd put it kind of harshly, but I felt like Norway had a point. Which should have made it kind of weird that I hadn't left when she did. Except that I felt this weird kind of power coming from Orihime. Yes, just wanted hug. Okay, I'm glad you're doing okay. Why is things going off? Yeah, stream work now. Thank God. It wasn't working earlier. I had to, like, restart a million things. The KBS is still dropping down to, like, 15 or whatever, but, like, seems like it's working. How well? So yeah, I'm hoping this works the rest of the time. If you guys do notice technical issues, please let me know in the chat. Because, yeah, Streamlabs hates me. Which should have made it kind of weird that I hadn't left when she did, except, okay, I already read that. I guess you could say she made me feel hopeful. We'd only met twice, so I couldn't really say I knew her well enough, but I couldn't deny her when she said she didn't know about the real world.
今夜の観望
What
会
should
は
we do about
どう
stargazing
しまし
tonight?
観望会
Observation meet. Orihime repeated the phrase as if she had just remembered something. They had planned an observation meet, a chance to look at the skies and to just hang out for this evening.
とてもそんな気分にはなれないわ。
Stream seems fine lit. Except it just dropped down really bad. I'm hoping that's just Streamlabs lying to me and not... Oh, no, it looks like shit, but whatever. We're gonna keep rolling for now. Grr. Okay. Oh, I simply just can't bear the thought. Hanuka nodded like she'd known before she asked. Noriko from Amahai looked disappointed when she saw that.
あの、
She opened her mouth as if to say something, but nothing came out. Amahai's astronomy club had only one member, just like Daiichi's. I bet she'd been really looking forward to tonight's meetup.
今後のことはまた仕切り直すことにして。
We'll have to reschedule tonight's activity. It doesn't look like we'll have time for it today. No, we should still do it. I said, interrupting Hanuka. Everyone looked at me, surprised.
ですが、
But, I mean, we're already gathered together like this, and, well, the stars are only visible tonight, right?
空見くん。
Akito.
私、やりたいです。
Let's go stargazing.
加納さん。
You too, Narue. Orihime wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes.
そうですわ
You're
ね。
absolutely right. It would be
私たちが
unthinkable for
集
us
ま
to
って
gather like this
星を
and
見ない
not
だ
watch
な
the
んて。
stars. Yay!
吉岡、準備を。
Hanuka, begin preparations.
はい、会長。
Certainly, Ms. President. Orihime had regained her enthusiasm, and the group began their stargazing preparations. Forcing a smile on my face, I thought to myself, what a wonderful world! Oh boy, now you've done it. And now it would be even harder to quit. I mean mood. Very much mood.
私、実は初めてなんです。観望会って。
To tell the truth, this is my first time stargazing.
今日楽
That's
し
why
み
I
に
was
してきまし
really
た。
looking forward to it.
今まで部活
You
で
mean
や
you've
らな
never
かっ
done
た
it
ん
at
で
your
すか
club?
うち 望遠鏡ありま
Well,
せん
we
し
don't have a telescope, you
それ
know.
に
And the
先
older
輩たち
students
も
didn't really know much
星に
about
あまり
astronomy.
詳しくなくてその先輩たちも引退してし
And
まった
since
後
they've all
は
left the club, I've
ず
been
っ
on
と
my
一人で
own.
活動してました
She said this haltingly, likely thinking back on all those lonely days of solitary club activities, but a smile rose on her lips.
だからムスラ星の会のお話を聞いた
So
時
when I heard about the
とて
Six
も嬉
Stars
しか
Club,
った
I was
し
so
す
happy
ぐ
and I
に
wanted
参
to
加しま
join
すっ
right
て
away.
返事をしたそうだったんですか
Oh, I see.
そ
I
の
think I
気
know
持
how
ち
you feel.
わかりうちも会長がいなくなって
Once
し
the
まったら
president leaves, I'll be on
私
my
一
own
人
here
になって
too.
しまいますから他にも部員さんいらっ
Don't
し
you
ゃ
have
るん
any
ですよ
other
ね
members?
月食など天
Well,
体ショーがある
yes,
時に
but
だ
they
け
only show up for
顔
big
を出
events
す
like
人たちなので
eclipses.
そうなんですか
Oh, really? Orihime listened to their conversation with a complicated expression on her face, then turned to me and nodded.
さっきはありがとう
Thank you for earlier. Huh?
あなたがああして声を上げてくだ
If
さ
you
らな
hadn't
かった
said
ら
anything, we would have just
あ
gone
のま
home.
ま解散してしまうところだったわ
Oh, no, I didn't do anything. I felt a bitter smile rise. I'd only come to tell them I wasn't joining, but just when I would have said so, I ended up encouraging the meetup. I was shocked at my own contradictory behavior.
加納さんのような境遇の方にも
I
天
wanted
文
to
を
revive
楽
the
しんでい
Six
ただ
Stars
くた
Club
め
for
の
people like
六つ星の
Noriko
会な
to
の
help
に
them enjoy astronomy. Click.
自分の不甲斐なさに落ち込んで
I
そ
was
れ
so
を見失
caught
う
up in
の
my own
に
worthlessness, I'd almost
本
lost
当に
sight
ダ
of
メだ
that,
わ
and that
私
would be truly bad.
神野さん
It
のお
was
っしゃ
just
る
as
通り
Naruwe said. Come on now, that's not true. You don't need to take this all on yourself, Orihime. If she hadn't called out to us, this meeting never would have happened. I had to admire the kind of enthusiasm that could persuade people from all these different schools to come and meet after years of silence. And now, here I am, apparently getting ready to join them in stargazing. Me, the astronomer who never looks at the stars. Anyway, I've already taken the night off work. I had no idea where they were planning to go stargazing, but as the only guy, I took on responsibilities like carrying heavy things and watching over the girls.
次じゃありませんか
Is it the next stop?
あ、はい、そうです
That's right. Noriko checked on her smartphone, then pushed the bus's stop signal. The next stop. The bus stopped in front of Mikazuki Station. Meaning, of course, right in front of the stop and by. Hello, friend. Kotaro noticed me immediate as I got off the bus and raised his head, ear switching. Figured out my hopeful Sapphire team. Ooh, nice! I'm excited to see you play Sapphire. I'm very excited to see you start Sapphire, because Gen 3 is fucking lit. But more and more strangers got off the bus. He squirmed into this doghouse and hid. Are we taking the train from here?
いいえ、こっちです
No, it's this way. With her phone in one hand, Noriko took the lead. I wondered why she was guiding. I didn't really understand, but since Orihime seemed happy to follow her lead, I went along after. Are you sure this is the right way?
ええこの先に星を見るのに
It
ちょ
said
うど
the
いい場
perfect
所があ
spot
る
to
ん
see
で
the
す
stars is straight ahead. This way. With Noriko out front, we walked down a country road, past a few scattered houses, and soon a large bridge-like structure appeared. It was an enormous concrete wall holding back the river, the dam.
これを渡るみたいですね
Oh, looks like we cross over here, she said, checking her smartphone map. We crossed over the walkway on top of the dam.
これが星のダムですか
So this is
大きい
Hoshino
ですよ
Dam.
ね
It's huge. Orihime said in an astonished tone. For a dam, it probably wasn't that big, but when seen from up close like this, it really felt like something.
どうかなさったの
Is something the matter? I'm gonna see if I can adjust this to make it a little more flattering. Not really. Yeah, it's fine. No, not really. Just brings back some old memories. There used to be a bridge over there, I said while pointing to a spot downriver.
橋
A bridge? Yeah. Oh? She seemed to be waiting for more about the bridge. I didn't want to explain any further, and she just looked at me, puzzled. Pretending not to notice her gaze, I looked out over the lake formed by the dam. Orange stars were reflected off the deep blue surface of the water. I didn't want to admit it, but it was a beautiful sight. Part of our village was under that lake.
Mikazuki Village, the village where we had spent our childhood. I guess it's only a home for fish now. Ooh, we get into the good shit. On the other side of the dam, the road started to climb the mountainside. We continued a while down the rough, broken asphalt before Noriko spoke again. This way, I think?
多分
We turned away from the old road and started down a trackless path. Though they'd been happily following this far, Hanako and Orihime's faces started to look uneasy when...
着きました
This is it! Noriko had led us to a wide open space on the side of the small mountain. There were no large trees here, and the world spread out before us. Orihime looked around, her eyes sparkling with excitement, even though she should have been exhausted from the walk up.
いい場所だわ空
What
が
a
広
great
くて
spot! The sky is wide open and there's hardly any light pollution to get in the way.
こちら側は遠くの
And from
山ま
that
で
side,
見
you
渡
can
せ
see
ます
all the
ね
way to the far mountains.
そうなんですか
Oh, do you like it? I'm so happy to hear that. Her big job completed successfully, Noriko breathed a sigh of relief. Unbelievable. This is the place. I muttered unknowingly, a wry smile on my face. I'd been here before. It was located just outside Mikazuki Village. We used to come here all the time to see the stars. It was hard to get to, but I was certain there was no better place in all of Hoshinonaka City to observe the night sky. And it had hardly changed at all in 4 years. It was full of memories, but for me, who had given up stargazing, it was also painful.
さあ皆さん暗くなる前に
Okay, everyone,
準
let's
備に
all
取り
get all
掛か
set
り
up
ましょ
before
う
it gets dark. At Orihime's urging, everyone set down their luggage and got ready for the stargazing meetup. Okay.
コタちゃんお手
Okay, Koti, shake! Hi, Saya. Welcome back. Bark.
おかわり
Other hand?
あおかわりだよコ
The
タち
other
ゃん
hand, Koti.
それは伏せだよおかわりはね
No, that's lay
お腹
down.
見せる
Other
んじゃ
hand
なく
means
て
no. Don't show your belly.
相変わらず半端にしか芸を覚えない
Same
んだ
old
ね
story. That dog can never
賢い
finish the whole trick.
あほな
He's a clever idiot.
あ先生こんばん
Oh,
は
good evening, Miss Miharu.
はいよこんばんはあいつ天文部の
So I
集
guess
まり
he's
に行
off
って
to
る
some
んだって
astronomy club gathering or something.
おかげで
Thanks to
店
him,
番
I'm
やら
on
さ
shop
れて
duty,
残々だわ
which
よ
sucks. I mean, mood.
探訪会やるって話した
What's
けど
this stargazing meetup anyway? Is he
あいつ
actually
また
looking
星
at
を
the
見る気
stars
になったの
again?
そうじゃないみたいです
Not really, I guess.
断る
He
つも
said
り
he's
だって
going
言
to
って
refuse.
たから
なんだ
Oh, is that so?
であんた
So
は
what
何
are
して
you
る
doing
の
here?
うん
I
私
thought
は
I'd come play with Cody a
コタちゃん
little.
と遊ぼうと思って
なるほど
Oh, I
あい
get
つが
it.
結局
You're
どうし
wondering
たの
what
か
he's
気
up
になっ
to,
て
so you couldn't
家
relax
に
at
でも
home
落ち
and
着かな
figured
い
you
から
wait for him
ここで
here,
待ってる
right?
赤くなっちゃったな
Aw, she's turning red.
けなげじゃない
How
の
sweet.
いいね
Oh, to
若い
be
っての
young
は
again.
先生だってまだ
But
まだ
you're
若
still
いで
young,
す
Miss
よ
Miharu. You should be
自
nicer to
信持ってくだ
yourself.
さい
うん
Come over
ち
here
ょ
a
っとこ
minute.
っち来なさい
うん
こめかみぐりぐりの毛
You
だ
get the temple torture for that. Twist, twist, twist.
なんでですか
そんな気遣いい
I
らん
don't
の
need
じ
your
ゃ
pity. Twist, twist, twist.
コタちゃん助けて
Mean.
若いあんたにはまだわかんないでしょうけ
You're
ど
probably too young to understand, but once a woman gets to be around 30, there are things you just don't mention. How about you get over yourself? Yeah, bitch can go get mortised.
特にニートのアラサーには
In
注意なさい
particular, you should be careful around
見た目はこんなに
unemployed
探れてても
30-ish people.
その
We
内
may
面
look
は
rough, but
年頃
inside
の
we're as
娘のよう
sensitive
に
as
ナイ
any
ーブだから
teenage girl. Then you need to get a job. Although who's gonna get a job in this economy? Bruh.
わかりました
I understand.
グリグリして悪かったわね。
Sorry I
なでなでして
tortured
あげ
you.
るわ。
Here, let me pet it and make it better.
ほんと、こんな可
But
愛い子に
seriously,
心
you're
配
so
かけ
cute
て
it worries me.
悪い男ね。
Especially with bad boys
あい
like
つ
him.
は。
アキトくんってまだ
You know,
星を見てるんです
Akito still goes stargazing.
そうなの？でもあい
Oh,
つ、
really? But don't
星を
people
見な
always
い天
call
文
him
部
the
員とか言われ
astronomer
て
who
るん
never
じゃ。
looks at the stars or something?
時々どうしても見たくなった時は
Sometimes,
一人で
when he
山
gets
に
the
登っ
urge
て
to
るん
look
で
at
す
the night sky, he goes up on the mountain alone.
あれってそうだった
Oh,
ん
now
だ。
that you mention it.
ま、星は見
For
な
all
いとか
this,
言いなが
I
ら
never look at the
天文部
stars
にいるような
talk.
や
He
つだしね。
is still in the astronomy club.
でもあんまり楽しそうじゃないみたいです
He doesn't actually seem to enjoy it.
山に行った次の
Even
日に
after
も
he goes up on the mountain,
星の
he
話
still really won't
して
really
くれ
talk
た
about
ことないし
astronomy.
アキトくんすぐ顔に
Akito's
出
an
るか
open
ら
book. It's easy to
な
tell
ん
with
となく
him.
わかるんです
ふーん。
Oh yeah?
それで
And
あん
what
たは
about
どうしたい
you?
の？
私ですか
Me?
ここでそうやってけなげしてる
Coming
のは
here and waiting
何
so
のため？
patiently. What is it you want?
私は
I
あっくんに
want Aki to look at the stars
星を見
again.
てほしい昔みたいに
Like we used to.
あの
Like that time we
ア
looked
ル
at
ビリオの時みたい
Alberio together.
でも
But I don't think you'll have anything to do with
私じゃ
me.
ダメだから
Oh no, Saya-chan, no!
そんなことないと思うけど。
I don't think that's true.
さやみたいな可愛い子に
I'm
お
sure
願い
that
され
any
たら
boy his age would do
あの
anything a
年
cute
頃
like
の
girl
男子
like
が
you wanted him
なんだ
to.
全国大会連れて
You
って
should
くれたら
say, if you
キ
take
ス
me
し
to
てあげる
nationals, I'll kiss
みたい
you
な
or
さ。
something. Go
ほ
on,
ら
give it a try.
言ってみ言ってみ。
If you take me
全
to
国大会
nationals,
連れてってくれたら
kiss you.
キスして
I picked the wrong time to try to take a drink.
妬ましいくらい初々しくて可愛ら
So
しいわ
jealous
ね
of your cute innocence.
恥ず
Oh,
か
this
し
is
い
so embarrassing.
ま、今夜の
Well,
観望
anyway,
会
it'd
が
be nice if this
ま
meetup
た星を
tonight
見
gave
る
him
き
an
っかけ
excuse
に
to
で
go
もなればいいんだけ
stargazing
ど
again.
ね。
Yeah.
はい
Aw. By the time we'd gotten Mako Academy's astronomical telescope all set up, the world around us had fallen into complete darkness.
今夜はあいにくの満月
Unfortunately, there's a full moon
田んぼには向かない夜ですよ
tonight.
ね。
It's not the best condition for observation.
どうして満月じゃダメなんですか
Why is that? The moon is really quite bright. On a clear night, you can read by the light of the full moon. That bright light washes off the fainter light of the stars.
そうなんですか
Oh, I
私
see.
の勉強不
I
足
guess that shows how
無
little
理を
I
言ってし
know.
まい
問題ありませんわ。そ
Don't
の
worry
分
about it.
今夜は
At
晴
least
れ
it's
て
a
ます
clear
し。
night. If we continued working together in the Six Stars Club, we'd eventually have perfect nights for observations too. But there were only 3 schools left, and if I dropped out, that would leave 2. That might make things a bit difficult.
望遠鏡覗いてみてもいい
May
で
I
す
look
か
through the telescope?
何がいいでしょうか
Of course. What would you like to see?
秋の夜空で見頃な天体。
What's something particular to the autumn night sky? We all looked up, pondering the sky. The autumn sky is considered the most boring of the 4 seasons, with few particularly bright bodies.
せっかくだから何か派手なものが
Well, since we're out here, let's find something flashy. A binary star or a nebula. There's the Andromeda Galaxy. I blurted out when the thought came to me, and Orihime turned to me.
いいですわねそうしましょ
Oh, what a good
Yes,
idea!
yes.
Let's do that, Hanukkah!
うでは少し倍
Very
率
well
を下
then,
げましょう
let's lower the magnification a bit. Hanukkah adjusted the telescope with practice movements. It was a Newtonian reflecting telescope. It had an equatorial mount, and after polar alignment, you could find any celestial body you wanted by entering the coordinates. For a school club, it was quite extravagant.
写真でなら見たことあります
I've only seen in
すご
pictures.
く大きいん
It
です
really
よ
is
ね
big, though,
確
isn't
か
it? Norika said, looking straight up into the sky. We were searching for a galaxy different from ours out there in the dark. But without knowing where to look, no one would ever find it. Do you know how to find the Great Square? It's right there. 2, 3, 4. Okay.
はいその一つから連なっているのが アンドロメダ座ですよね。
Sure, and the Andromeda constellation extends out from one of its stars, right? Do you see a kind of fuzzy body around Andromeda's knee?
見えるような、
I
見えないよう
kind
な。
of think I can. Is that
あ
it?
れかな。
This object that, unlike the other stars around it, looks like a fudgy patch of light is the Andromeda Galaxy. It's the nearest galaxy to our own Milky Way.
わからない。
I can't tell. Yeah, I think the full moon's a bit too bright.
導入できました。どうぞ。
I've got it now. Please, go ahead. Hanukkah stepped aside and Noriko looked through the telescope.
これが本物の
So that's the real Andromeda Galaxy.
なんだか写真で見たの
Seems different from the
と違いますね。
pictures. A bit more
もわっとしてる
misty
というか
somehow.
写真は大抵画像処理されているから
Most pictures you see have been
少
heavily
々地味に
processed.
感じるかも
When you
し
see
れ
it
ない
with your
わ
own
ね。
eyes, it probably seems a little bland.
そ
That
うか
might
も
be true. Noriko's voice sounded a little disappointed. Orime hated to hear words like bland or ordinary, so you'd expect her to be disappointed, but she smiled instead.
けど写真では決して見ることのできない
Right
ものを
now, you're seeing something for
今、あなたは見
yourself
てい
that
るのよ。
can't be seen in pictures.
写真では見られないもの。
Can't be seen in pictures?
230万年前の光よ。
Light released 2.3 million years ago.
230万年。
2.3 million years ago? Noriko blinked at this extraordinary number suddenly thrown at her.
あなたが今見てるのは
What you're seeing now is the
ずっと
Andromeda
昔の
Galaxy as it
Andromeda
looked a
大銀河の姿
long,
なの
long
よ。
time ago. In a galaxy far away, Naboo was under an attack. That object is 2.3 million light years away, right? Oh. Orihime nodded, smiling widely.
気が遠くなるような遥かな孤
That
高の
light
彼
was
方に
passed by
浮
a
かぶ
cloud of
4000
400
億個の
billion
星々
stars
の大
floating on
集
the
団
other
が
side of
放った
endless void. It's astounding.
230万年という
For
永遠にも等しい
2.3
時を超え
million
て宇
years,
宙を旅して
nearly an
きたその
eternity,
光を
that light has
あな
crossed
たは
space
今
and
見ている
now
の
you
よ。
are seeing it here on Earth with your
こ
own
の
eyes.
地球の大地から
The scale is
すごいスケールで
incredible.
すね。
Sugoi. Norika sighed as she looked through the telescope. A picture shows only the shape of a thing. The true light of it is lost. At that moment, looking up like that at the stars, we were taking in their true light.
空見くんもほら、覗いてみてください。
Akito, you should have a look too, Norika said excitedly. Oh, no thanks, I'm good. I've seen it before. As I tried to back away from the telescope, Orihime reached out and grabbed the hem of my jacket to stop me. Then,
そう言わずに
now, don't be like that. No way. Okay. She said coaxingly, looking up at me with puppy dog eyes. Who knew that older, beautiful girls could command such powerful weapons of persuasion? Okay, maybe just a little. Unable to resist, I bent over to look through the lowered eyepiece. After a quiet, deep breath, I looked through the telescope into the realm of the stars. Light filled my vision. Even at this low magnification, the massive galaxy covered the telescope's field of vision. It spread out at an angle, a patch of hazy light, unrecognizable as the clear spiral you see in pictures. Oh, death! But I knew it. I knew that patch of light came from stars floating on the other side of a near endless void. This track is really freaking loud in my ears. I knew that 2.3 million year old light was the truth of a galaxy crowded with over 400 billion stars. Billion. M31, the Andromeda Galaxy. I was looking at the light of countless stars in a place that our current civilization could never, ever reach. I was overcome with the sense that I was standing on this clump of rock we call Earth as it floated through the void. I felt like I was about to leave the Earth to embark on a distant journey to the realm of the stars themselves. And yet, in the next instance, I was visited with a deeply unpleasant sensation, and my elation evaporated, leaving my heart cold. I was suddenly full of loneliness, anxiety, and irritation, as if I had been cast off alone into the dark dark sky. It was hard to breathe. I can't read. I jumped away from the telescope as if I'd woken from a nightmare.
もういいの？
Oh, finished already? Yes. When I left the telescope, Orihime stepped up, eager to take her turn. Then, after Hanaka's turn, the three girls excitedly talk about what they saw. They looked so happy. It was easy to see how much they liked the stars. Those smiling faces glowed just as brightly as the Andromeda Galaxy in the telescope had. I'm going to go have a look over there. I didn't know if they'd heard or not, but I went anyway. The forest grew thick a bit further uphill from where everyone was talking. I wandered around up there. No matter how bright the full moon, it was still dark in the woods. We're going into the woods! I walked down the path, lighting the way with my phone. I felt so lonely. I always felt this way when I looked at the stars. Whenever I glimpsed the distant, twinkling void of the stars, I yearned for them. And yet, no matter how deeply I hoped, I knew I could never reach them. No matter how far I stretched out my hand, I could never touch them. I would feel abandoned in the endless dark, and breathing would become difficult. It's just too much for the eyes accustomed to the dark. It had been so long since I had seen stars through the telescope. They had been so bright they burned my eyes. Even after I'd left, that brightness remained in the back of my eyes. And so I wandered in that dark place, where I couldn't see the stars. After walking mindlessly for a while, I suddenly saw the night sky beyond the trees. If I walked any further, I'd come to the edge of the woods, and there would be... It was so dark I couldn't quite make it out. The silhouette of a large rectangular shape floated in the darkness, reflecting a bit of the moonlight. It's still here. Did I somehow go back in time as I wandered these woods? Or could it be that this was a special space, somehow outside the normal flow of time? The train car was still here. I climbed up on the platform and stared at the train stopped here, unchanged after all these years. I couldn't see if it had changed at all in the dark. The windows were pitch black as well. The platform was overgrown with weeds and withered ivy twisted over it. But it didn't seem to have changed at all from 4 years ago. With an odd feeling, as if I were in a dream, I walked around the train car. And I found someone. Someone was standing on the roof of the train. A girl. The area around us was covered in darkness. And yet that shape seemed to glow, giving off a faint white light that didn't let the darkness near. Bathed in moonlight, she stood there like a prima donna on stage. The goddess of the moon. This uncharacteristic thought rose in my mind, likely because of an earlier conversation. But the real reason for that feeling could have been the way she was standing, her hands raised to the sky. She was reaching out as if she could catch the stars. I feel like I've seen her somewhere. That's right, it was the girl I ran into near the station when I was out walking Kotaro a while back. I remembered her ponytails trailing out like the tails of a comet. And yet, that knowledge didn't shake the goddess-like feeling about her. Honestly, meeting her here, like this, only strengthened her mystique. The sudden melody came from my pocket almost gave me a heart attack. It seemed to give the girl standing on the train one, too. She whipped around to look at me in surprise. I'm not a creep. I pulled up my phone and answered without checking the name of the caller. Moshi Moshi?
今どちらにいらっしゃるの？
Where are you now? Oh, sorry, I just thought I'd take a walk around.
迷子でないなら構いませんけど。
It shouldn't be a problem if you aren't lost, but we'll be leaving soon. Right, I'll be right there. I hung up the phone and looked up to find the girl still staring at me. But where she had looked confused at first, now she was staring as if trying to figure something out.
アキト。
Akito? Huh?
アキトだよね。
You're Akito, right? How does she know my name? And that voice? Hikari? I called out, half convinced, half unbelieving.
ブイ
Bingo! I was completely confused as she stared down at me with an elated expression and gave me a peace sign. Oh, it has a lot of emotes. They're not exploding on the screen though. Nothing's working. Yay! Okay. The full moon still bathed her face and figure in pale light. It was mystical, like some flawless CGI out of a movie, like I was in some bizarre dream, like it was anything but real. It can't be. I was completely unable to grasp what was happening. But that voice was unmistakably real. It was Hikari's voice, and one I knew so well.
久しぶりだねアキト
It's so good to see you again, Akito.
Yippity dip skipperoo! I'm Sonic! Gotta catch 'em all!
Oh, okay, let's see how well this works, because my computer hates this. You guys are seeing exactly what I'm seeing, so it's gonna look like shit. I'm sorry. Wait.
一つ一つ生まれる瞬きここへそ
If it'll work.
星空深呼吸で
Yeah, this isn't gonna fucking work, and that's fine.
夜の行方胸の奥に兆し導く空へかける本気星ボラス見上げるよ空に
Throwing off my groove, I swear to God.
つかめない輝き
Hi, Saya.
求めた未来とは違う場所でも
My star.
あの日の人からはぐれた星にも一度
Who are you?
前をつけるため
Yay. Okay. That was stupid, I'm sorry. Whew. Well, apologies for that opening cutscene not working. Wasn't working on my end either. Oh, I got an achievement though. That's neat. Okay. I think that's gonna be a spot where I take a quick break. But I'll be back in a couple minutes. I think I'm gonna change into pajamas because I'm getting a little bit cold and grab a schnick. So yeah, go refill your waters. I will be back in a few minutes. Thanks for checking to see if the emote wall was actually working. Yeah, I'm in my dragon pajamas now because they're comfy and warm. I'm literally snacking on a green pepper. I'm trying to eat more veggies. No. Kataro got up, having spotted me walking unsteadily from the station. At his voice, Saya noticed me from the shop's sitting area.
アキトくん
I stepped in front of Saya when she came out of the shop, but I couldn't say anything.
どうしたのアキトくん大丈夫
What's wrong? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
全然大丈夫そうじゃないよ
No, you're not. You
願
went
望が言ってたん
stargazing,
だよ
right?
ね
Did something happen?
何かあった
Well, even Kataro's sad. I saw Hikari.
Huh?
Nani the fuck? Hikari was there.
光ってあの
Hikari? You mean that Hikari? I nodded without saying anything. But it could have been a hallucination. Sorry, I'm going to go back and get some sleep.
あアキトくん
I waved my hand weakly and walked past Saya. What in the
どういうこ
world
とだろう
happened? Even Kotaro is sad. Oh, this has to be some kind of flashback. As I stumbled down the rough, gravely asphalt, I suddenly stopped. There was a bridge in front of me. Do I cross here? They just told me how to get to school the day before, and I barely remembered it. Looking around, I didn't see another bridge to cross if I didn't take this one. I had two choices. The wrong choice meant I would be late for school. Either I could cross over here, or I could keep following the river. I stood there weighing my options carefully. Then I heard the light footsteps and someone came running full speed from upriver.
どいて
Out of my way! I jumped out of the way to avoid being bowled over, then whoever it was blew past me and grabbed the guardrail as they nearly ran into it. Watch out! They hit it with so much force I was afraid they would go right over, but they seemed fine. That's when I realized that despite her violent appearance, it was a girl. She was wearing a red backpack. And I figured if I followed her, I'd make it to school. Just as I was thinking my luck, the girl stared intently down at the water running below the bridge, not moving a muscle. Curious, I looked as well. Just under the bridge, I saw a cardboard box floating slowly downstream. There was a puppy in it. The floating box got caught squarely on a rock sticking out of the river's surface. The girl started running full speed, climbing down the riverbank. She must have been trying to help the puppy. The river wasn't flowing fast, but who knew how long the box would hang onto that rock? And the rock was out toward the middle of the river. It would be hard to reach without a boat.
動いちゃダメ今助けてあげるからじっとしてて
Don't move, I'm coming to help, so just stay still. The puppy seemed to understand the situation and started to bark like it was urging the girl to hurry. Meanwhile, she searched desperately for some way to reach it. Just then, a strong eddy caught the snagged box and shook it fiercely. It was almost washed away. The girl seemed to measure the distance between her spot and the rock, then reached a decision and set down her backpack. She stepped back from the waterline and braced herself. She set herself for a running start, but she fell flat on her back. Because I'd grabbed her collar just as she was taking off.
何すんのよ
What are you doing? You'll never make it. You're not some long jumper. I said, helping her up after I'd stopped her from jumping into the river. If you fell in, you'd just end up catching cold, and that's not helping anyone, right?
でも
Yeah, but... And anyway, even if you make it, how would you get back? There's no room for a running start on the rock. Here, move. The girl looked like she had She had more she wanted to say, but when she saw the drying pole in my hand, she swallowed it down and moved away. I had borrowed it from a house nearby. I stepped to the water's edge and reached out as far as I could. Come on, just a little more. I held the pole in one hand and stretched as far as I could, but it was just a little too short. You stop moving. Hold on to my other hand. Oh, right, leave it to me. I had her hold on to my left arm and I leaned out over the river, reaching out with the pole. You got it! No, just a little more. I hooked the end of the pole onto the edge of the box. All I needed to do was pull it in, but I couldn't get any leverage in that position. In fact, with all the jostling from the pole, the box was working loose from the rock. I won't let you! I stepped into the river and somehow got the pole hooked onto the box, keeping it from getting washed away. Come on, come on! My arms trembling, I carefully maneuvered the box to the riverbank. Come on. The girl lifted the puppy out in her arms. Oh, thank goodness. The girl hugged the dog, looking weak with relief. The puppy must have been terrified as well, because now it lay quietly in her arms. I flopped down on the ground, mind and body completely worn out. Ugh, I'm beat. Thank you so much, you saved him. When she thanked me, I got my first proper look at her face. She was crying a little, probably from relief. When she'd first come running up like that, I'd mistaken her for a boy, but looking at her now, she was obviously a girl, and a cute one too. And that expression, both smiling and crying at the same time, really seemed to suit her. We'd only just met, but she was making me think the strangest things. It was nothing, really, I answered bluntly. I was slightly embarrassed by the whole knight in shining armor thing. Is that your dog? No, I don't know whose it is. I just saw him floating by on the way to school and started chasing him down. Are your legs okay? The puppy and the girl looked worriedly at my pants. They were soaking wet. It's fine. It's nothing really. I said, but to tell the truth, the November River was really cold and my wet pants felt freezing. Where's your shoe? I didn't notice until she said, but my right shoe was missing. I guess it got washed away. The girl jumped up and ran to look for it, but it was gone. I could bear the cold, but missing a shoe was kind of a problem. Ah, well, when you considered it was the price for saving the puppy's life, it was a good deal. Alright then, I'm gonna get going. Oh, wait a sec. She looked back and forth from me to the puppy, panicking a bit. She currently only thought of saving it and what to do afterward. I picked up my stuff from the bank. I shouldered my backpack in a long, thin, cylindrical case. I'd better take the drying pole back. I said wait! Oh, that's right. Which way is the school? Do I cross the bridge? No, you don't. Hey, are you... Right, that's pretty much how I'm feeling. Just boy. Thanks. See you. 1 foot bare, I turned to head to school. Yay. Thank you for the wall of emotes. The classroom was filled with noise. The students all stared as I stood in front of the blackboard. What's up with this kid? Why is he all wet? He's kind of creepy. It was a small class, about 15 people. Each grade had only one class, but still the whole 5th grade only had that many people. Okay, okay, let's all just quiet down. Our homeroom teacher, Miss Satome, got everyone to be quiet. Okay, Akito, go ahead and introduce yourself. Can you do that? She spoke gently, seeming to worry a bit, but I nodded. I'm Akito Sarami. Nice to meet you. I tried to make myself look intimidating so that no one would mess with me. A boy who looked like he was the class bully stared at me, clearly not liking me already. Now from somewhere else, a hand shot. Oh! Hikari. Even though it wasn't her time for questions, the girl raised her hand so eagerly the confused teacher called on her. Clang. The hand's owner stood up excitedly. Her vigor made her chair crash into the desk behind her, and the girl sitting there let out a small cry.
So, you're Akito. I'm Hikari. Hikari Hakuboshi.
あれ
Huh? I guess she was waiting for me to act with, oh, it's the girl from before. But I just stared, expressionless. I even tilted my head to the side a bit and looked
急に
confused.
どうしたのひかりちゃん
What's wrong with you,
恥
Hikari?
ずかしいから座
Sit
り
down,
な
you're
よ
embarrassing yourself.
何張り切ってんだよバカヒカリ
Geez, Hikari, what are you so excited about anyways, idiot? Since I didn't offer any reply, Hikari looked kind of silly, getting all excited over the new kid.
ちょ違うよ
No, it's not like that. We
今
met
朝
this morning,
会
me
った
and
んだ
Akito, but I didn't have a chance to get his
その時
name.
名前つけなかったからう
忘れられてんじゃん
Oh man, he already forgot you. How lame.
っさいよタケ
Shut up, Take.
はいはい静かにほうき星さん自己紹介は休み時間にやりましょう
Alright,
ね
now settle down. Hikari, you can meet him properly during break.
違うのに
But it's not like that.
みんなもほうき星さんのよう
Okay,
に
everyone, please
Sorami
do try to get along with
仲良くしてあげて
Akito,
ね
like Hikari here. Everyone called up, Hi!
真ん中の後ろの席が
Your
あ
desk
な
is
た
in
の
the
席
middle
よ
at the back. Okay.
うーん
Man, Akito's a fucking asshole.
それじゃあ授業を始めます
Okay, now let's get started, everyone.
今日
Turn
は教科書の87
page
ページから
394. Turn to page 87 of your math textbook. It was break time. Fuck yeah. As soon as the class finished and we thanked the teacher, I left the classroom. I couldn't stand the way everyone was staring at me, the weird new kid with the wet pants.
ソラミく
Excuse me. Hikari followed me out. I started to walk faster, trying to get away.
なんで逃げる
Hey, why are you running away from me?
今朝のお礼をちゃんと言いた
I
い
just
だけ
wanted
な
to
の
thank you
に
properly for this morning. Why would you thank me? It wasn't even your dog, was it?
そうだけど
He's
でも
not, but
助けて
still,
くれ
you
たじゃん
helped me. I did it because I wanted to, so you don't need to thank me.
何それ難しく
Why
て
are
よ
you
く
being so
わかんない
difficult? I have to go to the restroom. Are you coming with me? Hikari stopped in surprise. An innocent look on my face, I entered the male sanctuary of the boys' restroom.
もう知らない
Fine then, who needs you? Yeah, fuck Akito. Akito can go... Fuck. Apart from that incident in the morning, I passed the first day of my new school problem-free. The girl called Takali Hokuboshi was, unsurprisingly, the most popular girl in class. And judging by the way she tried so hard that morning to save a dog she didn't know, she was a good kid. It's not like I hated her or anything. I just didn't getting stuck with a girl like that would be a good idea since I preferred being alone. A girl like that would surely worry about someone like me all alone, and then everyone would start to imagine things. It's hard to explain how painful that is for someone who really wants solitude. Also, guys start to look hard at someone who makes friends with girls right after transferring in. That would be not a good way to create a peaceful school life. I'd learned this all before. This was my 4th school transfer after all. Ah! Okay, so he's moved around a bit. And that's how I started my new school life here. It was the next day. The same old thing started.
おいソラミ俺たちの仲間に入れてやろうか
Hey Akito, you want to join us? The guy who looked like the head bully was called Takeuchi Kusakabe. And of course, he was the head bully. He was the tallest in class and looked as strong as an ox. I raised my hand and prepared to speak. I appreciate the invitation, but I am afraid I can't. I said it politely, like a gentleman would have, so as to not get on his nerves. Or rather, that was the plan.
だその言い方
Why'd you say it like that?
そうだせっかくタケちゃんが仲間
That's
に入れ
right,
てやる
after
って言っ
Take
て
was
る
so
のに
nice and asked you to come join us and all.
お前
You
生
stuck
意気
up
だ
jerk.
ぞ
So much for friends. He probably just wanted me to be a bootlicker like these guys. I just prefer to be alone, sorry. I said with a super cool little smile. As guys, they should have really understood that smile.
なんかこいつすっげえ
This
ム
guy
カつ
really
きを
gets
タ
on my
ケちゃん
nerves, Take. Huh? That was weird. It seems like they didn't get it. In fact, it looked like it had the exact opposite effect I'd hoped for.
んこれなんだ
What's this? Takeichi noticed the long, thin case I had beside my
お
desk.
前学校に何持ってきてんだ
What did you bring to school? He said and reached out for it. Don't touch that. Ooh! I slapped Takeichi's hand by reflex. Oh boy, now I'd done it.
こいつやっぱり生意
Oh,
気だ
this guy is asking for it. What the? Wait, no, that was just...
もうらいい
It's mine now. Takeichi took advantage of my distraction and snatched the case. Hey, what are you doing? Give that back.
やだね悔しか
Nope,
ったら
if
自
you
分
want
で
it,
取り
come
返し
and
て
get
みな
it. His two minions stood in my way to keep him from him.
やめなさいよダーシー
Stop it, guys!
そうよそう
That's
よ
right. The girls in the room must have sensed a dangerous shift in mood and started speaking up.
俺たちは転校生と仲良くして
Hey,
る
we're
だ
just
けだっ
making
て
friends
の
with the new boy.
No,
Isn't that
Sorami.
right, Akito? Whatever, just give it back.
嫌でね
Nope. Saying this, Takeichi unzipped the covering on the case.
なんだこれ
What's this supposed to be? He pulled out a white tube-like object from the case. Not knowing what he held, Takeichi unzipped the cover and took it off. Huh? Get your hands off that!
ひかりちゃん早く早く
Hikari, hurry up!
大
Akito's in
変な
trouble!
のどうしたどうした
What's happened? Is Take being a jerk again? One girl was pulling Hikari into the room by her
タ
hand.
ケちゃん光が来た
Take, Hikari's here.
女相手にビビってんじゃ
Don't
ね
be afraid of some girl.
Omara,
Hold
Dad, stop.
line. Okay. Huh? Hey. Seeing what was going on, Hikari slipped through a gap in the desk and rushed fiercely up to us.
ちょっとどいて
Get out of my way.
タケちゃんご
The minions were routed and Hikari made her way to Takeuchi unopposed.
やっちゃえひかりちゃん
Way to go, Hikari!
めんやるか
What are you gonna... Takeuchi put up his guard by reflex, but...
天体望遠鏡じゃん
It's a telescope! Seemingly unaware of the surroundings or tension in the air, Hikari stared at it with gleaming eyes. Her burning gaze was fixed on the white box in Take's
天
hands.
体望遠鏡
A telescope.
そうだよ天体望遠
Yeah,
鏡
it's
だ
an
よ
astronomical telescope.
タケ
Take, why do you
これど
have
うした
it?
の
こいつが持ってたんだ
He had it.
空見くんの
Oh,
その
Akito.
入れ物
So that case you
天
got
体
is
望
a
遠鏡だった
telescope.
んだちょっと貸して
Can I see it? She grabbed it from Takeichi and examined it up close.
ビッグなん
I
ていう
forgot how to
ん
read
だ
it, but I know this brand.
忘れたけどこの
She
名前
couldn't
知っ
read
て
the
る
English brand name, but apparently knew what it was.
おい空見なんか知らね
Hey,
えけ
now
ど
Akito,
こんな
I
もん
don't
学
really know
校
what
に持っ
this
て
is,
き
but I
ていい
don't
と
think
思
you
って
should
んの
have
か
brought
よ
something like that at school.
そうだそうだ
That's
right, we should tell the
teacher.
ん
I stayed silent and everyone stared at me. They all probably wondered why I'd bring a telescope, something you only use at night, to school during the day. I doubted anyone could imagine the real reason. But Akari didn't seem to care about any of that. She just stared at the telescope jealously.
いいなあ天
How
体望遠
cool, a
鏡
telescope! I've been
私ね
begging my
お
dad
父
to
さ
buy
んに
me
買
one.
ってほしいっておねだりしてでもダメって
But
言
he
われ
said
た
no.
光は秋っぽいから
He
ダメ
said,
だ
you get
どう
tired
せ
of
すぐ
everything,
他に欲しい
Akari.
ものが
If
で
I
きるだ
bought
ろ
one, you
う
just
っ
want
て
something else in a day or two.
私って信用な
He
いん
just
だよ
doesn't
ね
trust me.
でもしょうがないんだ
But I guess he's
前に
right.
買って
They
もらった
bought me a
釣り竿
fishing
は
pole, but I gave
一
up
匹も
without catching
魚
a
釣れ
single
ずにやめ
fish.
ちゃったしジグソーパズルは 3
And I
分の
stopped
1や
my
って止
jigsaw
まってる
puzzle a
し
third of the way through.
ゲームも全部クリア
And
す
I
る
never
前にや
finished
めちゃ
video
うし
games,
宿
and I
題よく
forget my
忘れる
homework.
しご飯は残さず食べるけど
I always eat
食
all my
器をシン
dinner,
ク
but
に
then
持
I
ってい
forget
く
to
の
put the
忘
dishes
れ
in
て
the
怒ら
sink,
れ
and
る
they
し
get mad at me.
今度は本当なのっ
I
て
even said,
一
this
生
time I
懸命
really
お
mean
願
it,
いし
and
たんだ
actually
けどね
begged though.
ばあちゃんが言ってた
But Grandma explained
一
it.
度失った信
She
用
said
は
once you lose
そう
someone's
簡単に
trust,
は
it's
取り戻
so
せない
hard
っ
to
て
get it back.
信じてほしかったら
If you want to be
いっぱい
trusted, you have to be a
いい子に
really
して
good girl and work
そ
hard
れ
to
で
recover your
信
name,
頼回
she
復しない
said.
といけないんだよ
Hikari had an expression on her face like she understood well the hardships of life and sighed.
どうでもいいよ
Who
お
cares
前
if
が
your
親に
parents
信
don't
用され
trust
てない
you?
話とか
うん
Yeah.
俺も同じこと
You know, my
この
mom
間
said
母
to
ちゃんに
me,
言われた
told me the
な
same thing a while back. Hikari had given an incredibly detailed yet seemingly pointless account of her own fickle nature and how it made her lose her parents' trust. I can't read. However, Takeichi and his minions had listened, and it seemed to quell their aggression. In the meantime, the bell rang and the teacher came into the room.
あなたたちチャイム鳴った
Alright,
わよ
guys, that's the bell.
席に
Everyone
着
back
き
to
な
your
さい
seats. Takeichi and his goons sat down, expressions downcast. Hikari returned the telescope to its case without the teacher noticing.
ねえ今度
Hey,
これで
show me
星
the
見
stars
せて
through
よ
this sometime, okay? She said, returning it to me. I just hooked it back onto the side of my seat without saying yes or no. With things left like this, Takeichi was sure to pick another fight over something. There had been some stupid teasing, sure, but to be honest, I was kind of relieved by it. Compared to the schools before this, the teasing had been almost amateur, if not downright childish.
Actually, I figured that Hikari coming around to poke her nose in and complicate things would be more of a pain. I hadn't made any friends. Of course, I wasn't trying to. I stopped trying ages ago. Besides, who knew how long I'd be here? I just went through each day, holding my breath, trying to ride out the storm. One day, when I was finally an adult and able to decide things for myself, I'd be out of this storm. But right now, all I could do was pray for that day to come soon. Things went on like that for a month. Everyone seemed to get used to me, the alien transfer student. The days seemed to gain some regularity and tranquility. Then something happened to shake all that to pieces. Another transfer student showed up. Saya? I started off that day searching the thickets next to the school building. When I'd gotten to school in the morning, my indoor shoes hadn't been in the shoe cabinet.
ほんとタケにも困ったもんだよ。
Poor Take's such an idiot.
後でちゃんと
Later,
ロ
I'm
ーリ
going
ン
to
グ
give
そ
him
ば
a
としと
rolling
くから
so
さ。
bad kick. There's first bell. We have to get to
う
class.
ん、そうだね。
Yeah, that's true. She said, but she didn't go anywhere. Hikari was poking her head into another thicket, still looking for my shoes.
おかしい
That's
な。
weird. He's
あ
an
いつ
idiot,
アホ
so
だ
he
から
always puts them
い
in
つ
the
も大
same
体この
place,
辺に
right
隠
around
すんだけ
here.
ど。私も前にやられたこと
He
あ
did
る
it
よ
to。me too once.
ムカ
Made
つ
me
いた
so
から
mad I
あ
stuck
い
his
つの
shoes in
上履
Taro's
き太郎の
doghouse.
小屋に放り込んでやったんだ。
Shit.
太郎知ってる？
Do you know
Taro
Taro?
me
He's
sensei
Miss
to me
Taotome's dog. Is he really vicious? I blurted out.
うん、おとなしいよ。
No way, he's
もう
super
おじいちゃん
gentle,
だも
a
ん。
sweet old grandpa dog.
けど、でっ
But
かい
he's
んだ。
huge. She stretched out both hands as far as they'd go. If her sign was anything to go by, the dog might have been as big as a Great Dane, but she was probably exaggerating.
タケのやつビビっちゃって。
But Take was
私
so
に泣き
scared
つ
he
いてき
came
た
to
か
me
ら、
crying,
し
so
ょ
I
うが
gave
ない
in
か
and
ら持
got
って
them
きて
for
やった
him.
の。太郎、私には優しい
Taro
か
was
ら。
always sweet with me. I could see that Hikari was Takeichi's natural enemy. If Takeichi ever tried to bully a girl, Hikari would come flying in and rescue her. The girls in class lived in relative peace thanks to her. But most of the boys were too embarrassed to have a girl help them, so we had to watch out for ourselves. Having said that, even the worst of Takeichi's bullying was pretty tame, just hiding people's shoes.
タケはヘタレだから、
He's such
本
a
当に捨て
coward,
た
you
りで
never
きない
actually
ん
throw
だ。
them away or anything.
前に、よっちゃんの体操
One
着を
time,
川
he
に流
threw
しちゃった
Yochi's
こと
gym
があっ
clothes
て
in the river,
弁
and
償
Take
さ
had to
せられ
pay
て
for them, and his
タ
dad
ケの
got
やつ
really
おっ
mad
ち
at
ゃんに
him.
めちゃめちゃ怒られたんだ。因果応報だって。
Grandma said it's just
Ba-chanが言ってた。
karma. Hikari nodded with a look like, that's just what I think too, but I wonder if she really understood what karma meant. We both dropped the conversation and focused on looking for the shoes.
ね
Hey. Yeah?
え、空見くんはどうして
Why
友
don't you
達
try to
作
make
ろうと
friends
し
with
ないの？
anyone? Hikari looked like she'd been wanting to ask this for a while. It's just how I am.
ほら、それ、な
See,
んか冷
what
め
is
てて
that?
ひね
It's
く
like
れ
you
て
try to
る。
be all cold on purpose. Her open expression cut right through me, but I kept cool on the outside. And?
そうだよ。
Well,
そんなだ
that's
か
the
ら、タケ
problem.
たちに
That's
も
why
し
Take
つ
and
こ
those
くちょっ
guys
かい
keep
かけられ
messing
る
with
んだ
you.
よ。もっとフレンドリーに行こうよ
Just。try being more friendly,
例えば、
like saying,
一緒に
hey,
望
let's
遠
go
鏡
look at
で
the
星
stars
見
from
よ
my
うぜ
telescope
とか
or
さ。
something. So that's what you're after.
ギク。
Hikari had been eyeing me and my telescope like a hawk. For such a normally fickle person, she was being awfully persistent.
いいじゃん、見せてく
Oh,
れたって。
come on, why not?
一
Just
度だ
once.
けでいいからさ。
Hikari suddenly turned defiant. No.
なんでよ。
Why
理由を
not?
聞
Give
こうじゃ
me
ないか。
one good reason. I don't have to tell you anything.
どうして使わないのに、いつ
Why
も
do you
学校
always
に
bring
持っ
it to
てきてるの？
school? You never use it. Who knows?
もう
Yeah, I'm right there with Hikari. She looked at me like she didn't know what to do with me. Forget about it. Just go back to class. Going to work. Okay, have a safe drive. There's another transfer student coming today, isn't there?
そうだった。
Oh, that's
女
right.
の子なんだって。
It's a girl
都
apparently.
会に
They
住ん
say
でた
she
子
used
だ
to
って
live in
言
the
ってた
city.
よ。
I wonder what she's like.
どんな子だろうね。やっぱりおしゃれなのか
I
な。
bet she's really stylish, like a
読
super
モ
module
とか
or
そう
something
いうの
like
やっ
that.
てたりするのかな。
If you want to know so bad, shouldn't you head back to class?
そっか。じゃあ早く見つけ
Right,
よう。
let's hurry up and find your shoes.
くそ
Crap, where did that
タケ
idiot
の
Take
アホめ
hide
ど
them?
こに隠した？
It didn't look like there was any way she was leaving first. I sighed and kept looking. We finally found my indoor shoes inside a storage box in the corner of the schoolyard. Just like Hikari said, it was somewhere with a roof where they wouldn't get dirty. The shoes themselves were still brand new. But the bell had already rung by the time we got to class.
やっぱ
Oh, first
朝
period has
の
already
会始
started.
まっちゃってるよ。
We could hear Miss Saltomi's voice from the classroom. If we go in now, we're still safe. I'll explain you were helping me.
待って。
Hold on. Hikari snuck to the back door of the classroom and opened it soundlessly. Cut it out! I said, shocked, but Hikari didn't listen and just peeked through the gap in the door. A girl was standing in front of the blackboard, just like I had done 1 month earlier. But this time the mood was totally different. Unlike me, with my wet pants and a missing shoe, she stood tall in clean clothes, staring at everyone with a kind of primness about her. But most of all,
サングラスしてる。
she's wearing sunglasses. What is she, some kind of movie star? She was exactly what everyone had imagined when they heard the words transfer student from the big city. The classroom was all abuzz. Even Takeichi stared intently, completely starstruck by the sight. A super module! I knew it! She's a super module! What does that even mean? I don't know. I guess that she was probably trying to say supermodel, but for Hikari, it probably had the same vague familiarity as king or assassin. I don't know about a model, but her clothes, especially those glasses, were nice, her posture was good, and she certainly drew attention. I ended up staring through the gap as well.
空見くん、チャンスだ。
Akito, now's our chance. As soon as she said it, Hikari dropped down on all fours and slipped into the classroom. Hey! With no other choice, I followed after. With everyone focused on the new girl, no one noticed us at all. Hikari had been right. It was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. I looked at the new girl through the gaps in the desk as I crawled along. For some reason, she made me nervous. Maybe it was because I was a transfer student like her. I knew it would be a huge deal here in the shrinking Mikazuki village for 2 kids in a row to transfer like this. It probably also had something to do with her unusual fashion. Her flashy city style didn't really match with this old wooden classroom. But what I really couldn't stop staring at was the face behind those sunglasses. With part of her face hidden like that, everyone in class was probably imagining she was some great beauty. That was all just because the sunglasses had a feeling of maturity, something unsuited to kids, and it created an air of mystery about her.
はじめまして。
It's nice to meet you, the new girl said with a touch of arrogance. A low whoa sounded through the classroom. Like everyone was shocked she spoke the same language as they did.
私は
My
天の
name.
川さん。その前
Saya,
に
before you continue, Miss Saotome interrupted her
教
introduction.
室ではサングラスを外し
Let's
まし
take
ょう
off
ね
your。sunglasses in the classroom, okay?
でも
But
これは
these... Suddenly timid, the new girl started to protest, but Miss Saotome just stared silently. The new girl looked down in embarrassment. She clearly didn't want to take off her sunglasses. And then...
先生、遅刻してきた奴らがいます。
Teacher, somebody was late. Just as Hikari was about to reach her seat, Takeichi noticed her and called down in a mocking voice.
ほうき星さ
Huh?
ん。
Hikari,
それ
and
に
you,
空見くん
Akito.
も。たけ、この野郎。
Take, you jerk, whose fault do you think it is?
知るか。空見なんか
How
の
should I
肩を
know?
持つからだ。
That's
バーカ。
what you get for being Akito's little friend, stupid. For a moment, the spell had been lifted from the classroom. Everyone was suddenly staring at us, as rowdy as ever.
はいはい、みんな静かに。
Okay, let's all just quiet down.
二人とも
Why are you too late?
どうした。
違うの先生。
It wasn't us
悪いのは
though.
タケ
It
で。
was all Take's
あい
fault.
つ
He
が
hid
空見くん
Akito's
の上
indoor
履き隠
shoes.
したから。
俺知らな
I
い
had
もん。
nothing to do with it.
はい。
Why you?
空見くん、どうして
Akito?
遅れてき
Why
た
were you
の。
late? Akito?
空見
I
く
stared
ん
at the new girl, not aware I was being called on in the noise of the classroom. I stared because she'd taken off her sunglasses. Soon, everyone was staring at her like me. Our tardiness forgotten, the whole class focused their eyes on the same point. Her eyes.
なにあの目。
What's wrong with her eyes?
色が違
They're
う。
different colors. The eyes she'd hidden behind those sunglasses were 2 different colors. Her left eye was a deep blue and the right was orange tinged with yellow. Unlike earlier, now everyone was speaking in loud voices, unwilling to break the quiet as they turned their inquisitive eyes on her. She sniffed once and ran her hair behind her ears, as if to shake off all the rude stares.
天の川さやです。
I'm Saya Amanogawa. She introduced herself. But I'm sure no one actually heard her.
天の川さんは都会での暮らしが長く、
Saya lived in the city for a long time, so... While the teacher gave the usual everyone be sure to be nice line, I continued to stare, dumbfounded. I know I shouldn't, but no one was stopping me, so I didn't stop. The new girl looked at me with doubt in her eyes.
何。
What is it? They look like albriero. Huh?
ん
What? Your eyes look like albriero. The new girl opened her multicolored eyes wide in surprise, and then the next moment, tears started to well up. Those blue and orange eyes seemed to sink into sorrow as teardrops like jewels flowed down her cheeks. And at last, the new girl's face went completely red as she began weeping.
Amanogawa-san?
Saya. Miss Satame was thrown off by this unexpected turn of events. We made Saya cry. Sobbing loudly, the new girl stumbled out of the classroom.
少し自習しててちょうだい。
Everyone sit at your desk and read on your
教室から出ちゃダメよ。
own. No one leave the classroom. Leaving us with those words, the teacher hurried after her. I stood completely bewildered in the clamor of the classroom, not sure what I'd done wrong. That day, no matter how hard the teacher tried to calm her down, to comfort her, the new girl never came back to the classroom. She stayed in the infirmary all day, not leaving until school was over. I spun through the air and fell to the ground where I sat staring up at Takeichi.
転校生を泣かした罰だ。
That's for making the new girl cry. I didn't answer, just stood up and started picking up my stuff. Hey! One of Takeichi's goons started to take my stuff, including the case containing my telescope. What are you doing? Without thinking, I went flying at him and reached to grab my case.
おっと。
Hey now, you're an all-star. But Takeichi got there first. Give it back.
なんでいつも学校に持ってきてんだよ。
So why do you
使
keep
わねえの
bringing
に。
this thing to school but never
自慢の
using
つもり
it? You're
か？
trying to show off? He said, waving the case around.
こんなもん。
This piece of crap. Takeichi acted like he was going to throw the case. But I didn't buy it. I knew he didn't have the guts. He looked at me and clicked his tongue.
返して欲しかったら明日転校
If
生
you
に
want me
謝
to give
れ
it。back, then apologize to the new girl tomorrow. It's your fault she cried.
そうだ
That's right, your fault.
おりゃー
Here comes Hikari. From out of nowhere, someone appeared and drop-kicked one of Take's minions. There's only one person it could be.
光何しに来やがった
What are you doing here?
あれは意地悪で言ったんじゃない
He
よ
wasn't teasing her.
あ
What are you talking about? He made her cry.
こい
なんで泣いたのかは
I don't know why she
わかんない
cried, but he wasn't teasing her.
けどでも
Right,
違うもん
Akito?
意地悪じゃないもん
Yeah.
嘘つけ
Liar, I know you were making fun of her.
っていうかいじめっ子はあ
Oh,
んたじゃ
that's
ん
rich coming from a bully like you.
Sonami-kun
You
ni
owe up to 100 apologies.
やだね
No
こんな
way,
弱
like
虫
I'd
に
ever
誰が
apologize
謝る
to a
か
wuss like him.
何よ
What was that? What the fuck?
これはあんたのせいで遅刻して先生に叱られた私の怒りだ
This is what you get for getting us in trouble, for being late when it was your fault. Feel my rage! That's a screenshot. Thank you. Hikari's rolling sobat kick hit Takeichi square in his backpack and he fell forward. The impact knocked the case he held to the ground. Hikari kept her combo going.
そしてこれは空見くんの上靴を隠した分だ
And this is for hiding Akito's shoes. She grabbed Takeichi's feet and spun him around with all her might. It was a giant swing, a really serious move.
うわお前絶対手離すな
No, don't let go,
ダル
please.
ちゃん
Sake!
目が回る
I'm getting dizzy. Is she just like spinning him around like so long, Bowser? Just as Takeichi had feared, his feet slipped from Hikari's grip. Luckily, I guess, she hadn't been swinging him with too much force and they both just tumbled to the ground. I wasn't really sure what she had been trying to do. She was trying to throw him like Mario 64.
大丈夫たけちゃん
Crap.
仮面
Hikari, you'll live to regret this.
覚えてろよ
Takeichi ran away, wobbling to and fro from dizziness.
目回っ
I'm so dizzy. I helped get Hikari up. Thanks, I do appreciate it.
たなにあんなの
Oh
どうって
no,
こと
that
ない
was
よ
nothing at all. Hikari, probably still dizzy, flexed to show off her muscles and grinned. No, not that.
What?
Thanks for realizing I wasn't teasing the new girl, I said, averting my gaze in embarrassment.
あ
Hikari nodded in understanding and picked my telescope case off the ground. She swatted the dust off it, and then...
あワン吉
Oh, hey Pooch! Huh? Is that the puppy from before?
そこの橋の下にいるんだ。
Yep, he's under the bridge over there.
よしよし、元気だったか、
There,
マ
how
キ
you
チ。
doing, Coach? Hikari patted his head and gave him some bread left over from lunch. She said something about eating all her dinner before, but she's probably been saving him some of her meals. Did you name him Pooch?
仮だけどね。飼い主が見つかったら、ちゃんとした名前をつけてもらう。
Aren't you keeping him?
うち社宅だから。
We live in company housing, no pets.
ねえ、空見くんちはど
Oh,
う？
hey, what about you?
犬
Can you
飼
keep
えない？
him? No.
そっか。
Oh well, I wonder where he came from.
どうしたもんか。元の飼い主
I
に。
guess he can't
って
go back
わ
to
け
his
に
old
もいか
owner.
ないし。
Hikari said, deep in thought.
誰か飼ってくれそうな
I
人
guess we just
探
have
さ
to
ない
find
と。
someone to take him. Woof.
どうしたの、空見
Something
く
wrong,
ん？
Akito? No, nothing. After starting to feel a strange empathy for the discarded puppy, I rushed to keep up my cool exterior. I couldn't risk weakness like that. Hikari stood up and turned to me, pulling herself together.
ねえ、アルビレオ見たことあるの？
Hey, have you ever actually seen Albirero? Huh? Oh, sure.
綺麗だった？
Was it pretty? Yes, it was. I answered Hikari's enthusiastic prodding grudgingly.
いいなぁ。
Oh, I'm so
私も
jealous.
見て
I'd
みた
love
い
to see it
な。
someday. She muttered under her breath.
綺麗だったよね、あの子の
Her
目。
eyes were so pretty, weren't they?
Sarami
When you
君が
said
ア
they
ルビ
look
レオ
like
みたいって言った
Albirero,
時、
I knew just what you
私
meant.
すぐピンと、あ、そうだ、いいこと
Oh,
思い
hey,
つい
I've
た。
got the best idea. Hikari clapped her hands.
見せてあげたらいいんじゃない？
Why don't
あ
you
の子に
show
も。
her with your
この
telescope?
棒、そうしたら私も見
And
ら
then
れ
I
る
can
し。
see too. We'll kill
一
two
石
birds
二
with
鳥っ
one
てや
stone.
つだね。うしし。
She added this last line with a sly look.
きっと意地悪
Then
で
she'll
言
know
った
you
んじゃ
weren't
ないって
teasing
分
her.
かってくれ
Isn't
る
that
よ
a good。idea?
明暗でしょ。どうしたの？
What's wrong? I can't.
なんで？
Why is that? Because it's broken.
そうなの？は、
Oh, really?
もし
Oh
かし
no,
て
did it break
さ
when
っ
I
き
hit
ので壊
Take?
れちゃった？
Hikari rushed to open the case and examine the telescope. It looked fine on the outside. The case is actually cushioned, so it absorbs impacts. That kind of stuff was no problem.
ここも大丈夫そうだよ。
But it looks fine. Look through it. Hikari did as I said and looked through the telescope. She looked at the nearby woods and the far-off mountains, tilting her head.
何これ？
Huh?
ぼやっと
It's
して
all
て
blurry. You
全
can't
然
see
見えない
anything.
よ。
What's wrong with it?
それに
Oh,
景
and
色が
everything is
逆さ
upside
ま向
down.
いてるみたい。
Now do you see? I took the telescope from her hands and put it back in its case. Even if I wanted to show her, I can't, so just let it go.
あ、ちょっと。
Hey, wait a minute.
うん、行っちゃった。
He left. Man, Akito needs to just get over himself. I'm sorry. Fuck. This is almost ruining the game for me. Tadaima. Glancing at me from the living room, my granddad turned off the TV and retreated to his bedroom. I've lived here alone with Granddad for a month. I barely even spoken to the moody, quiet old fart. Sometimes I wonder if he was just ignoring me, but I honestly didn't know. There were some yokon, sweet bean jelly desserts on the table. I guess that means I can eat some. I made myself some tea and set my notebook out on the table to do my homework. We added arithmetic today. As someone who hadn't totally settled into class, I didn't want to be saddled with the title of bad student, too. So I tried to concentrate on the problems, but... What was she crying about? I didn't mean to say anything to make her cry. Her eyes just reminded me of the beautiful twin stars I saw with my father long ago. I was totally confused as to how it had happened, but I still felt guilty for making that girl cry. But she wasn't the only one who'd been hurt. Such an important memory being taken as an insult hurt me too. I'll apologize tomorrow. She didn't have to forgive me. I just wanted her to know I didn't mean anything by it. The next day, the new girl came to school. She wasn't wearing her sunglasses today. She sat in the back by the window, staring at the scenery, her face tilted down. Everyone kept stealing glances her way.
聞いた？天の川さんのお母さんの話。
Yeah, I heard. She ran off.
駆け落ちし、声
Gosh,
大
don't
き
be
い
so
よ。
loud. Continuing to steal looks, the girls gathered in closer and lowered their voices as they spread their rumors. The girl's mother had originally come from this village, but she ran away. Later, after her divorce, she came back home in tears. At least that's what they said.
悪いことして生まれた子だから、
Her mom
あ
did
んな
something
目して
bad,
るん
and
だ
that's
って。
why her eyes are like
だ
that.
と思った。
I knew it. They spread their cruel gossip in low voices, but Saya surely heard them.
I mean, I could hear them just fine. But she stared out the window, her face composed, pretending not to hear them.
ちょっとやめなよ
Cut
そう
it
いう
out,
の
you guys.
でもうちのお
But our
母
mother
さんが
said so,
そう言ってたし、
Yeah.
あんたらお母
And
さ
if
ん
your
が明
mother told you
日
a
三日
meteor
月
was
村
going
に
to
隕石
fall
が
on
落ちるって
Mikazuki
言ったら
Village
信じ
tomorrow,
る
would you
の
believe them?
信じるわけないじゃん、そ
Who
んな
believe
バ
a
カな
stupid
話。
story like that?
そんなの信
Maybe
じる
only
の
you,
ひかりちゃんだ
Hikari.
けだよ。
確かに私信じ
Maybe
ち
I
ゃうかも
would. A while ago, my sister told me
この間もお
that
姉ちゃん
falcons
に
were baby
トンビは
hawks, and I
鷹の子
believed
供だ
her.
ダメじゃん。
No way.
でもあん
But
た
the
たち
stuff
が
you
言って
guys
る
are
ような
saying
のは
is just as... Oh. Now that Hikari settled into the matter of gossipy girls, I took the chance to go up to Saya's desk. Saya caught my reflection in the window glass and jumped a bit, then slowly turned to me.
何？
I'm sorry about yesterday. I'm sorry I said something that made you cry. But I didn't mean anything bad by it. It's just your eyes. The second I started to talk about her multicolored eyes, her cheek flushed and she jumped up. Then she pushed me out of the way and ran out of the room. Hey, wait. Takeichi and his gang saw this from the other side of the room, and their faces started to darken with anger. Crap. I left the room and started after her.
天の川さんここにいたんだ
There you are. What is it?
ごめんね
I'm sorry about those
クラスの子
girls.
た
They
ち
shouldn't say
ひどい
such
こと
awful
言って
things.
別に。
Whatever. It's all true anyway.
いいんだよムカついたら
It's okay to get
ビ
mad,
シ
though.
ッ
You
と
should
言い
go
返
tell
して
them
やれ
off.
ば自分で言いづらい
And
な
if you don't want to,
私が
I'll do
代わ
it
り
for
に
you.
言ってあ
I
げ
can
る
be pretty loud.
私声だけは大きいからね
Hey,
一つ
can I ask
聞いて
you
いいか
one
な
thing?
昨日
Why'd you
ど
start
うし
crying
て泣い
yesterday?
たのほら
It's
急
just,
に
it
泣
was
き
so
出したか
sudden.
ら
I
なん
just
で
wondered
かなっ
why.
て思ってああ嫌だったら
But if
答
you don't
えな
want
く
to
ていい
say,
よ
that's fine. I was just
ただ
wondering is
ちょ
all
っ
you
と
know.
気になっちゃっただけで
He called me a monster.
怪獣
A monster?
私の
Because of my eyes.
天の川さん
He
の
said your
目
eyes
を
are a monster?
もしかして
Are you talking about
Albireo?
Albireo?
違うよアルビレオ
No,
は怪獣じゃ
Albireo is
ない
not a
よ
monster. It's not?
うん違う
No, no way. Oh man, you really had me confused. But doesn't it sound like a monster?
うん確かにそうか
Well,
も
kind of, like
ガジラ
Godzilla
vs
versus
アルビレオとか
Albireo
あ
or
りそう
something.
でも違うよ
But it's not,
怪獣なん
not a
かじゃ
monster,
ない
I mean. It's something much
もっと
nicer.
素敵なもの
素敵なもの。
It's something nice. Yeah.
ご覧なさい
Look and see.
あれ
That
が
is
名
the
高い
famous
アルビレオの
Albireo
観測所で
Observatory.
す窓の外の
Beyond the window,
ま
amid
る
the
で
Milky
花
Way
火でいっ
fireworks
ぱいのよ
display
うな
brilliance stood
天
four
の
black
川の真
boxy
ん中目
buildings.
も覚めるような
And on the roof of
サ
one,
ファイ
as
アと
brilliant
ト
to
パ
the
ーズ
eye,
の
were
大
two
きな
great
2つの
spheres.
透き通
One
った玉
sapphire
が
blue and one topaz,
輪
revolving
に
in
な
a
って
quiet
静か
orbit
にくる
together.
くる
Huh?
銀河鉄道の夜だよ
It's from Night on the Galactic Railroad. Haven't you heard it? Only the name.
アルビレオは白鳥区にある
Albireo is
天の
part
川
of
の
the
流速を測
Cygnus
る機械なの
constellation, and it's a mechanism to measure the speed of the galaxy.
私の目。
My eyes are a mechanism?
うん違う
No, no.
本当の
The real
Albireoは
Albireo is made
星
of
なんだ
stars.
青とオレンジの双
Blue
子
and
の
orange
星
twin stars. I've only
図
seen it in
鑑で見
books,
た
but
こ
it's
とあるけど
beautiful.
すっごく天の川さんの瞳
And
に
it
よく
really
似て
is
る
like your eyes.
よくわかんない。
I don't really understand.
うんそっ
I
か
see. I guess it's kind of
そうだよね
complicated.
あでも怪獣じゃな
But
いか
it's
ら
definitely not a monster.
今度
I'll
貸して
lend
あ
you
げ
that
る
book,
銀河
Night
鉄
on
道
the
の夜
Galactic Railroad. It's
す
really
ご
good.
く
You'll
面
like
白い
it.
からおすすめだよさあ戻ろう
Okay, let's head back.
Asa
Class is
no
getting
kai
ready to
hasumatta.
start. Yeah. When they'd left, I came out of my hiding place. I caught up with Saya. She and Hikari were already talking, so I hid. A monster. I couldn't believe that was a misunderstanding. Thanks to Hikari, I knew why she'd been crying now, and I felt a little better. Uh-oh. First bell rang. I hurried back to class. I washed the dishes after a quiet dinner with no conversation. Granddad could only cook simple dishes. I think the neighbors felt bad for Granddad living alone, so they often brought over stews and leftovers. This made up the majority of our dinners, along with ready-to-made side dishes from the supermarket. Granddad left the room to take his bath. After finishing the dishes, I settled down in the corner of my room to read a book. Except I wasn't really comprehending anything the book said. I shut the book with an agitated sigh, then reached for the cylindrical case that lay nearby. Opening the zipper, I took out my telescope. After a bit of fiddling, I opened the rear window just a crack and pointed it at the night sky. Everything was blurry. I couldn't even see the stars. If only this telescope wasn't broken. Then I would be able to show her Albirero. Dad had shown me that beautiful double star only once when I was younger. Even though I hadn't touched anything, the image blurred even more. Everything blurred so badly that I couldn't tell what I was looking at anymore. And that's when I realized I was crying. I put the telescope in my lap as I wiped away my tears. What the heck am I crying over anyway? I didn't understand it. Was it because I had remembered Dad? Mountain climbing was Dad's hobby. Sometimes he would even bring me along. Mom would usually scowl and say it was dangerous. I always felt like it was more work than play, so I never enjoyed going. The time we saw Albirero, we were spending the night on a mountaintop somewhere. Dad's friend who would come along brought out his telescope and showed them to me. 2 stars nestled together, glowing orange and blue. The light coming from those 2 stars was the first I'd seen through a telescope, and though it was simple, I was drawn in by its mysterious allure. Staring at the light from those stars dancing in the darkness, I had been transfixed, and without thinking, I had said, "Dad, I really want a telescope."
あっくん、クリスマスプレゼント
Aki, what do you want
何
for
がいい
Christmas?
プレゼントならもう決まってるよ。
You already
Ah,
decided,
Akito.
right, Akito? We
天
did.
体望遠鏡さ。
The telescope?
あら、そうな
Oh,
の
is that right? Mom looked at me with surprise. Yeah. It was true, I did say that I wanted a telescope, but I had no idea what came over me at the time. I'm sure I just got caught up in the moment while camping on the mountaintop. Honestly, I really wanted a new game, but it seemed Dad had already made up his
天
mind.
体望遠鏡を買って父
We'll
さん
get you
と
that
一緒に
telescope,
冬
then
休
on
みの
winter
自由
break,
研
you and
究
me
やろ
can
う
do a
な。
research project together. Sure, sounds fun. We'd come from the mountain and returned to our everyday lives. I forgot all about the elation I felt that night, and upon remembering, I wonder how I even thought stars were interesting at all. But I didn't want to disappoint Dad, so I never said anything. In the end, they had got me this telescope. Suddenly, someone was banging on my front door as if it were a drum. What the?
サラミくんあそぼ
Hey, Akito, let's play. That voice. Hikari? I wiped my tears away in a panic.
サラミくんあそ
Come on, Akito, let's go. Oh. You could ring the bell, you know. I knew Granddad's house is old, but it did still have a doorbell.
サラミくん
Did you need something? Honestly, I felt like I've used the company, so I was glad someone had come to visit. I didn't want her to know that, though, so I put up a gruff front so she wouldn't see through me.
意地悪しないで見せてよ望遠鏡
Stop being so mean and show me the telescope. What? What was she talking about?
本当は壊れてなんかないくせに嘘つい
I
て
know you
て
totally
分か
lied
って
about
る
it
ん
being
だからね
broken when it really isn't. But I wasn't lying, even you saw it. The telescope was broken. My voice trailed off as if I didn't want to admit that fact myself. As it did, Hikari gave me a puzzled look.
本当に意地悪で言ったんじゃないの
Sure you're not just messing with me? I'm being totally serious. Hikari searched my eyes for any hint that I may be lying.
貸して
Let me see. I obediently handed over the broken telescope to her. She then proceeded to painstakingly look it over. After fiddling around for a while, Hikari grinned from ear to
こ
ear.
れ壊れてないよ
It's not broken. But the images are all blurry and upside
先
down.
生が言ってた普通の望遠鏡と
But
違
our
って
teacher told us that,
Tentai
unlike stuff in
望遠鏡は
binoculars,
逆さまに見えるんだって
telescope actually show images in reverse. Huh? Are you kidding me? Then why would it show images upside down?
それでねぼやける
And the
の
reason
は
it's blurry is because...
What the heck?
Hold on a sec. Hikari handed me back the telescope and started to unfold a pipe-shaped package at her feet. A tripod. Where'd you get that?
早乙女先生が貸してくれ
Miss
た
Atome lent it to me. Hikari told me triumphantly as she continued to set up the tripod. And yet... Wait, what? How does this
ど
go?
うなってんだ
She was really excited, but because it was dark, she was fumbling around a bit. Let me see. I gave her my telescope again as I tried to set up the tripod instead. This telescope had come with a tripod when we bought it, so I sort of knew what I was doing. What are you gonna do with
えっ
this?
とねここのネジに望遠鏡
I
を
think you put the telescope on with a screw here. It's too dark to see well. Can you bring me the flashlight by the doorway?
う
Yeah, sure. With Hikari holding the light and after a lot of fiddling around, we finally managed to mount the telescope onto the tripod. We did it!
はあ天体望
Yay!
遠鏡
Telescope complete! Mounted properly on its tripod with a single lens pointed toward the night sky, it certainly seemed quite impressive. Alright, so now what do we do with it? I asked her as an awkward thought crossed my mind. It was embarrassing that, even though the telescope belonged to me, I didn't know how to use it without someone else's help.
ね
Let me see here. Hikari picked up the whole telescope assembly and moved it to a more spacious part of the yard. Then, using a lever situated between the telescope and the tripod, she aimed the lens somewhere up into the night sky. She dialed the nearby knob while peering into the telescope. Why is my phone going off here? Oh, getting all kinds of weird messages and things. Yay! Oh. Right. Hikari was muttering to herself emphatically.
はいはい
So, are you able to see anything? Or is it ultimately broken like I thought?
見えた
Oh, found it. Found what?
わあ見えるす
Oh, I can see it. Cool. Seriously, what is it? What do you see?
う
Oh, that's so neat. Wow.
ごい
This is my telescope, you know. Without thinking, I totally went and said it.
しょうがないな
It's alright. Fine. With a deliberately exaggerated motion, Hikari looked up from the scope, spinning the dial as she did so.
Hi.
Here. Despite really wanting to jump in and take a peek, my pride got in the way, so I slowly sauntered over.
早く見なよ
Hurry up and take a look. Don't rush me. Stifling my eagerness, I peered into the scope. Just like before, the image I saw through the telescope was blurry. Were my eyes just bad? No, that couldn't be it. My vision was 2015 at my last eye exam. So if that's the case, maybe I was doing it wrong. Maybe there's a trick to looking
見
through
える
it. Do you see it? Yeah.
嘘ばっか
You're
ぼや
such
っと
a
しか
liar.
見
I
えて
bet it's
ない
all
くせ
blurry,
に
isn't it? How did she know? You did something, didn't you?
にひひ
She giggled with a guilty
ここを
expression.
回すの
You turned this knob right here. Which one?
ここだよ
This one, here. Hikari guided my hand with hers to where the dial was
こ
located.
こねゆっくり
Turn the
回す
dial
の
here slowly. Right?
どうしたの
You okay? It's nothing. It wouldn't be embarrassing if she found out my heart skipped a beat with our hands touched, so I played it off. So, like
そう
this.
そう
Yeah, that's it. Just as he said, I turned the dial and the fuzzy images within the telescope began to slowly change.
だんだんピントが合ってくるから
It should start coming into focus.
どう
How is it? Yeah.
ああじゃあわかんないよ
I can't tell what
ど
you
う
mean
なの
by yeah.
見えた
So, can you see it now? I can see it. I answered her quietly, my voice shaking as my breath hitched. Hey, so this is... You take the moon, and you take the moon, and you take the moon. Like waking from a dream, the haze lifted from the image, revealing an otherworldly landscape so different from Earth. Is this... the moon? I could see a clear image of the distant hills and valleys created by the creators.
そうだよだって
Yep,
望
that's
遠
where the
鏡はお
telescope
月
is
様に
pointed.
向いてるもん
Still, it didn't look like the moon that I knew. What I saw wasn't at all like looking like the glowing yellow disk I usually looked up to in the night sky. Looking at the bumps and valleys of the waning moon, they were so stark against the surface. What the hell? Oh. Okay. Progress going good? It's going. I still hate Aikido, but you know. I felt as if I were looking at the exact same soil I was currently standing on. On the other side of the vast separation of space, there was soil. I never knew the moon was so uneven. I always had thought of it like a really big version of a light bulb. It's not as if I hadn't known there was soil on the moon. It was hard to compare the images of the moon that we see on the TV or in books to the sphere we see glowing in the night sky. There were rocks on the moon, mountains, basins, and surface that reflect light and make shadows. God damn it. The delineation between the darkened surface and the surface illuminated by the sun was exceptionally vivid.
早乙女先生が言ってた月を見るなら
Miss Altman
今
had
夜あた
said
り
if
が
we
見
wanted
頃
to see
だ
the
ろう
moon,
って
tonight would be a great night to do it, remember?
満月よりもちょっと欠
She
けてる
said the
方が
shadows appear,
影ができていいんだって
appear better when the moon is waning just a bit, more than during the full moon.
どうしたの
Is something wrong? Hikari asked me, a little impatience showing in her voice. That was when I noticed it, that my vision had gone blurry again. But this time it wasn't because the telescope was broken, or that I couldn't get it to focus. It was because I was crying.
なんで泣いてるの？
Why are you crying? Despite being caught off guard, Hikari was concerned. Tears poured down my face, all thoughts of being embarrassed about crying long forgotten. I was supposed to see this with Dad. Dad and I were going to do an observation project together. We were going to use this telescope, and sobbing, I started talking about things I'd never told anyone before. I actually wanted something else, but Dad really wanted me to see the stars, and so I put up with it, but in the end we didn't get to see them because both Dad and Mom died before we could go. Like my tears, I couldn't stop rambling. Feelings that I'd hidden deep in my heart were welling up and pouring out along with my tears. I lost both Mom and Dad in an accident. I was taken and let go by so many family relatives over and over again until I was finally brought to my retired granddad's house. Everyone ignored how I felt about it all. Throughout those tumultuous times, I lost a great deal of things. One by one, they were lost. Important things, not so important things. The baseball glove that Dad had bought me. The scarf that Mom had knitted for me. Clothes and shoes that I had outgrown. The water canteen and the backpack I used when we hiked up the mountain. My favorite baseball cap. My bicycle. My family photo album. With every item I lost, I also lost a memory. And with each memory lost, my heart broke that much more. Whether it was fun or sad or happy or angering, it was like I was just waiting for the future, whether tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or just any time that I could look forward to. One by one, I lost a fragment, every fragment that made up who I was. Everything's just gone. It's like having a pocket with a hole in it. As you continue walking, you end up dropping more and more things out of it. But there's just one thing that I've got left. I raised my hand to the telescope as I said that. Though I may have lost the tripod that we brought with it, I still had this telescope with me. That it was the proof I needed. It was a single piece of evidence that tied the present me, who has lost almost everything, with the me that had lived happily with both of his parents. Sometimes I feel like everything that happened at that time was all just an illusion or a dream. But when I get like that, this telescope reminds me that it was all real. It had happened. That the good times I spent with Mom and Dad really did happen. That's why I can't lose this. I brought it to school with me every day because of that reason. I felt uneasy if it wasn't with me, even though I didn't even know how to use it.
大切なものだったんだね。
It really means a lot to you, huh? She said it so apologetically. I'm sure she regrets pestering me so badly to see it. I shook my head to reassure her it was okay. Honestly, it was really painful. Even though I'd say that it's proof of my memories, I really hadn't made any with it at all. The only reason I treasured this telescope was because it happened to be the only thing that I managed to keep. That was it. But I had no choice but to hold on to it. I had to convince myself that it was something important. Is there anything in there? Is it just some plain old empty tube? It was so painful to have that doubt lingering in the corner of my mind. I gripped my shirt above my heart, scrunching the scrap fabric in my grasp as I recalled the pain. But I guess that wasn't the case, huh? It wasn't just an empty tube. The moment I realized that fact, I was overwhelmed with tears.
空っぽなんかじゃないよ。それどころかすごいものだったよ。
Of course it's not empty. This is something way cooler than a plain tube, too.
覗くだけで月にまで手が届き
Just
そ
by
うなく
looking
らい。
through it, I felt like I could almost touch the moon. We can touch the moon, and we touch the moon. As she excitedly told me that, Hikari spread her arms wide toward the night sky. I couldn't help but chuckle at seeing her enthusiasm. Drying my tears, I looked into the telescope again. It really did seem like I could reach out and touch the moon. I'm sure this is what Dad had wanted to show me. A vast and beautiful world, full of drama and mystique stretched out before me. It was there, at the opposite end of this last remaining piece of hope, my telescope. And now, knowing the true meaning, I was able to make the connection. The connection between the me who had only known happiness and the current me. Thanks, Hikari.
私がやりたいからやっただけ。だか
I
ら
just did it because I
君に
wanted
感
to,
謝
so you
される
don't
こ
need
と
to
じゃ
thank
ない。
me. After saying that with a dismissive look on her face, Hikari laughed jokingly.
なんてね。
Just kidding. I couldn't help but laugh.
That was the exact same thing I had said to her the first day I transferred in. Sorry for being such a jerk before. I never made any friends because I was always transferring schools. I like that emote. That's a cute emote. It's one of the holiday ones, the 2020 ones.
それも昨日までの話だね。
That's so yesterday's news now, though. What do you mean?
だってもういるじゃん、友達。
Because you've definitely got one now, right? A friend. She smiled as if to say, "It's me! It's a me!" I couldn't help but laugh again. The sight of her self-confident expression was too amusing. It really had been a long time since I had last laughed like this. It was such an interesting thing. I had cried and openly talked about such personal things, but now I was here, laughing genuinely with her. I didn't think that it was possible to expose my feeling like this anymore. I thought I had built a strong shell to protect myself from the loneliness. I'd spent years hardening this protective shell, and yet it was so quickly breached and broken. Stargazing brings out the kinder side in people. If only everyone could feel that small bit of light from deep, deep in space, I'm sure the world would be a more peaceful place. I like that octopus. I want you to remember that faint light. Grow up to be a kind person who sees that light that others cannot. I spoke the words that floated up from the depths of my memory. That's what my father said to me when he bought me this telescope. That shining light might have been you, Hikari.
Her name is literally Light.
Hikari was taken aback and blushed profusely.
やだな。
Oh,
私そん
come
な
on,
い
what
い
are you
もんじゃ
talking
ないよ。
about? There's no way I could be something that great. Hikari hung her head after her expression of disbelief faded.
もう照れるじゃん
Jeez,
か。
trying to make me blush.
でも私知らなかったよ。
When people look at the stars, they
星を
really
見ると
become kind. I
みん
didn't
な
know
優
that.
しくなるんだね。
Yeah, well, it's something my dad had told me. I'm not sure whether it's true or not.
いや、なる
Oh, I think it's true. It has to be because I'm feeling extra nice right
よ。い
now.
つもより優しい気持ち
It。seemed that Hikari had completely believed what my dad had said and was looking at me with a reverent gaze. I couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed and flattered. Dad also told me, don't fear the darkness, because though the night is dark, the stars shine dazzlingly bright. I can't read anymore, man. But that one is a little more confusing, and I'm not too sure what he meant. Hikari nodded in agreement.
そうだね。哲学的だね。
Yeah, it seems pretty philosophical, doesn't it?
でもよかったね。
Still, isn't this great? What is?
これで天の川さん
Well,
に見せ
now
て
you
あ
can
げ
show
られるじゃん。
Albireo to
アル
Saya.
ビレオ。
That's right, my telescope wasn't broken.
きっとびっ
I'm
く
sure
りす
she'll
る
be
ぞ。
really surprised. With an excited expression, Hikari once again looked into the
What is it?
telescope. Uh-oh. What's
月が
wrong?
いなくなっちゃっ
The
た。
moon's disappeared. Hmm? Even though we hadn't moved the telescope, the moon had somehow disappeared. You're
なん
right.
でだろう。
I wonder why. Maybe it's because the moon moved.
だって
Well, but then... At first, Hikari looked at me incredulously, but then it seemed as if she had quickly realized something.
か。
That's
お
right,
月
the
様って
moon
動いてるん
moved.
だ。
Oh my gosh. Even though it was something so obvious, she said it as if it were a huge discovery. Up until now, we had never really been aware that the moon was actually moving. Looking up at it normally, it seems so still. But when we look at it with a telescope, we can tell it's moving little by little.
すごいね。
Telescopes
Hentai
are so
望遠
cool.
鏡。
Yeah. It was like we had seen the hidden side of the world and we nodded together in astounded agreement. That night, the two of us had actually confirmed one of the mysteries of space. We had witnessed with our own eyes the reality that the moon was in constant motion. That night, the two of us stayed up late while stargazing with my telescope. All the while, we felt the thrill of being accomplices in uncovering the secrets of the night. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break because, like, my brain is tired reading that much. So, I'll be back in a few minutes. Come on.
Hey friends, who's ready for another episode of Rant Geisha? So my parents went to the Old Town Blues Club in Temecula, which is open. It's like a bar. I'm gonna turn up my sensitivity slightly because I feel like I'm a little quiet. But anyway, so my dad got a shit ton of t-shirts in the mail, right? I guess some website had like a 10 for $50 or something. Some of them are kind of lame, like I'm with stupid with the arrow pointing to one's face and stuff, but then there were a couple that kind of made me groan. And one had like red pill and blue pill, and I just kind of casually said nerd because it's the Matrix. But then my mom's like, oh no, do you actually get it? Like the blue pill you'd like stay asleep, but then the red pill you'd be awake, which like thank you for playing my laugh. But the last shirt that my dad pulled out of the pile reads 1984. I need to get out of this house. Anyway, I'll do this for like another little longer. I am getting like just eye strain with this is worse than with other video games. So we're gonna go through this a little bit longer. If I do end up cutting it kind of short, we'll do like a watch party or something. But yeah, anyway, there's new people in the stream. Welcome. Sorry to come back with Rant Geisha, but like, I gotta do it sometimes. It was morning, and standing in front of the classroom door here at school, I let out a long sigh. Hikari had come over to my house last night, and we looked at the moon through my telescope together. It was such a wonderful experience. How long has it been since something so emotional and dramatic made my heart beat so fast? My heart was still racing from the thrill I'd felt as I gazed at the lunar landscape with her. I cannot word. And yet, I had made a shameful mistake while I was caught up in the moment. I'm sure this is what Dad had wanted to show me. Ugh. A couple of students walking nearby flinched in surprise as I threw my arms around my head in an outburst. Just hang with me at a day, it'll get you out of the house, masks and plenty of hand sanitizer too. That'd be nice. That would be really nice. Maybe next week during one of your off days. Yeah, that would be nice. I have plenty of hand sanitizer. Check out my little hand sanitizer thing though. It's a pumpkin and it holds hand sanitizer. This stays on my desk, and I also keep one on my purse, which I did before 2020 happened, but I just use it a lot more now. What the heck was up with this woe is me attitude? The embarrassment of remembering was enough to make me want to throw myself out of a window. But Hikari quietly listened to me talk about all of that. I wondered what she really thought of me then. How the heck do I face her after that? As I was fidgeting in front of the classroom. Telescopes are seriously cool. Ugh. I overheard a very excited voice speaking. Yeah, that's right, he showed it to me. I went over to his place yesterday to hang out. I was certain she was talking about me. Yo, okay, by the way, I don't know if you saw my, my Instagram story on my personal, but, like, there's a Hello Kitty cafe truck that goes around on weekends. Low-key, I want to go visit it. I know that there's, like, the actual cafe in Irvine, but, like, it's in Irvine. But still, better head to the restroom first. Right as I turned around, there was Saya, who had just arrived at school. She flinched, startled by my sudden movement, and looked at me with alarm reflected in her multicolored eyes. Tears began swimming in Saya's eyes. No escape. I faced forward again and entered the classroom. Hey, did you know the room's all bumpy and stuff? There are hills and plains. It's just really rough. Visit it. I want to. I'm gonna have to plan a day to go. Honestly, if I'm gonna go visit that cafe in Irvine, it would need to be a weekday because I hear that it gets kind of busy. So, but yeah, it's just a matter of like making a plan to go. I don't know. No, wait, it looks smooth though. No, it seriously is. I saw it with my own two eyes. Was the bunny there? It might have been, I think. Yeah, I remember. It was hopping everywhere. There was no bunny, I retorted without thinking. I tried to avoid eye contact by turning away, but I was too late.
アキト
Hey,
おは
Akito,
よ
morning!
う今なんて
When did they get so close? The girls in the classroom all glared at me in surprise after hearing that Hikari had hung out with me the other day. Morning, Hikari.
名前で呼び合ってる
I wonder when that
昨日
happened.
の夜
I bet
何
something
かあっ
happened
たん
between
じゃ
those
な
two
いあ
last
の
night.
二人
The girls started to whisper amongst themselves like we were up to something taboo. I felt like there was a huge misunderstanding on the rise. While we were looking at the moon together last night, Hikari suddenly sprang this conversation on me.
空見くんって
Hey Akito, don't you think it's weird that we only see each other at school?
アキトって呼んでいい
Think we can hang out like this more? That's fine with me.
私のことも
You should come
光
over
って
too,
呼ぶんだ
okay?
よ
What?
ほうき星さん
Well,
って
yeah, it's
超
only
長い
fair,
じゃん
right? I can't be the only one
聞い
coming
てる
over
こっ
to
ちも
play.
なんかまどろっこしいんだよね
Well, yeah, I guess not.
友
Guess
達
our
ランク
friendship
さら
has
にアップ
leveled
だ
up,
ね
hasn't it? And so we decided that we'd spend time together outside of school too, although truthfully I wasn't really used to the idea yet.
どうしたのアキト
You feeling okay,
風邪でも
Akito?
ひい
Did
た
you catch a cold? It's nothing. I watched her expression carefully as I answered. It didn't seem like my emotional debacle last night was affecting her in any way. I felt a little relieved.
今ね昨日のこと
I was
話
just
して
talking
たんだ
about what we did last night.
みんなも見たいって
Everyone's saying they
お
want to
月
see the
様
moon too. When I come to the classroom, I was too busy worrying about what to do. I hadn't noticed the way the classmates saw me had changed from yesterday. I wouldn't go so far as to call it respect, but it was something along those lines. At least they weren't looking at me all confused like I was some kind of alien anymore.
だからさやろうよみんな
So
で
I was thinking we could all have a Stargazers meetup together.
天体観測
A
会
Stargazers meetup?
何それ
I don't know, that sounds pretty
難しそう
complicated.
全然難しく
It's
ない
not
よ
complicated at all. We'll
天
just
体望遠
look
鏡
at
で
stars
星
through a
を見るの
telescope. That's
それ
it.
だけねいい
Isn't
よね
that right,
アキト
I caught a quick glance of Saya, who was sitting by the window staring at the scenery outside and keeping away from the classroom commotion. She'd always been a little unapproachable, like she tended to put up walls between herself and others. Sure, sounds good to me.
アキトもこう言ってるし
Since Akito says it's fine, we're good, right?
うん
Okay,
いいけど
guess so. Despite their half-hearted responses, Hikari and I looked at each other with knowing glances. We predicted this kind of back-and-forth discussion last night, but it seems that the first step to our grand scheme was a success.
クラスで天体観測会をしたい
So you want to hold a Stargazers meetup as a class. It was lunchtime. After Hikari and I devoured our lunches, we interrupted Miss Satomi's lunch to tell her about our idea in the
昨
hallway.
日ちゃんと月が見えたの
It
ね
seems you two were able to see the moon last night.
うん見えたよ
We totally did.
ありがとう
Thanks, Miss
先生
Satomi. It was so
すっ
cool
ご
to
く
see.
感動したんだ
Though we lacked the vocabulary to adequately express ourselves, it was easy to tell by our expressions how moving it was for us. I've always wanted to go like stargazing in real life, but it's not something I've ever really been able to do. Shit, that's something I'm gonna need to change, isn't it?
そうよか
That's
ったわ
great,
ね
I'm so glad. Miss Satsume returned to Hikari and then turned and gently smiled at me. I felt my cheeks flush, and so I lowered my head to hide my
だ
face.
からねみんな
It
に
was
も
so
見せてあ
cool.
げ
We
たい
really
んだ
want everyone to see it too.
そうね
See. Miss Satsume once again glanced at my expression. This time it seemed she was a little worried. Since Miss Satsume was our homeroom teacher, I'm sure she noticed that I had a hard time fitting in this past month since I transferred
ど
schools.
んな星が見たいか
Have
も
you
う
already
決まってい
decided
る
which
の
stars you want to observe? Albirero, I called out suddenly. I'd really like for everyone to see Albirero. Our teacher looked a little surprised, but she quickly nodded her head in agreement.
いいわ
I understand. Let's
じ
tell
ゃあ
everyone the
今
plan
日
at
の終わ
today's
りの
class
会で
meeting.
みんな
Yay!
観測の計画は
Can I leave the
二人に
observation
任せて
planning
も
to
いい
you
かし
two?
ら
計画って
What do you
何
mean
す
by
るの
planning?
天体はいつでもそ
Celestial
こにあ
bodies
るわ
don't
け
just
じゃな
stay
い
in
わ
one place all night, you see. They
少
move
しず
along
つだ
very
けど
slowly.
動いているの
Hikari nodded her head with an I already knew that expression on her
い
face.
つどうすれば
It's
そ
important
の
to
星が
carefully
見ら
plan
れる
out
か
when and from
ち
where
ゃんと
certain
調べて
stars
おか
can
な
be
いといけな
seen.
いわできる
Think you can do that? As if on cue, our eyes met in agreement.
やりたい
We can do it! Miss Satsume gave us a smile.
よし任せた
Wonderful.
わよ
I'll leave you
二人
to
とも
it then. Let me know when you come up
計
with
画
a
が
plan,
できた
okay?
ら先生
わかった
Okay, we will. Thank you so much, Ms. Miharu. I called her by her first name without thinking. Though she was slightly taken aback at first, she chuckled.
頑張って
Work hard. With that, she gave me an encouraging pat on my shoulder. I felt a gentle and warm feeling bubbling up inside me.
It had been so long since I'd had an adult expect anything like this from me.
行こう、アキト。
Let's go, Akito. Right.
どこ行くの？
Where are you going?
図書室。
The school library. And with that, we took off toward the school library.
ほら、廊下は
No
走っ
running
ちゃ
in
ダ
the
メよ。
hallways, you two. At the class meeting, it was decided that we would hold a Stargazers meetup. We'd expected that Takeichi would complain, so it was a good thing we'd explained it all to Ms. Saotome beforehand. As soon as Ms. Saotome had said that it was a great idea, the decision was unanimous. We moved on to the planning stage of our event.
おばちゃん。
Hey, Granny. After school, Hikari took me to a local candy shop on the way home. Next to Mikazuki Station, there were many small shops that lined the street. The sign of this shop read Saotome.
いらっしゃい、ひかりちゃん。
Oh, Hikari, come on in. Calling out to Hikari, a little old stout lady emerged from the back of the shop. A puzzled look crossed her face when she saw me.
見かけない子だね。
Well,
もし
no,
か
I
して
haven't seen you around
君が
before.
空
Are
見
you
明人くん
Akito
かい？
Sorami? Yes. How did she know my name?
ミハルから聞いてる
I
よ。
heard about you from
ちょっ
Miharu.
と
She
強
told me
情
an
だけ
interesting
ど
and
面
slightly
白い
stubborn
子が
kid
クラ
joined
ス
our
に入っ
class.
ちゃって
Miharu.
お
Oh,
ばちゃんは早乙女先生のお母さんなんだよ。
this lady is Miss
よく似てる
Saotome's.
だろ
We
あ
look a
の
lot
子
alike, don't
私
we?
に
It's
似て
because
美
she got all
人
her
だか
good
ら
looks from me. Granny said before letting out a hearty cackle. I could only nod meekly in reply.
いつも娘が世話になっ
Hope
て
you're
る
not
わね
giving her a hard time at school, are you?
あの子
Is she being a good
学
teacher
校
to
で
you?
ちゃんとやってるか
うん、やってるよ。
Yep, she's great.
みんな
All of her
先生のこと
classmates love Miss
大好きだもん。
Saotome, right, Akito?
アキト、
Huh? Oh, yeah. I suddenly blushed and started to fidget.
あのね、アキトは
So,
ね、
Granny, you know, Akito, Hikari proceeded to talk the old lady's ear off about various topics.
へえそうなのか
I
い
see, is that so? Granny gave me a deliberately surprised look.
こんな男前あの子にはもっ
Your
た
looks
い
are
な
a
い
bit
よ
wasted on that girl, though. I'm gonna mess with something here. Welcome back to my stream has dropped in quality. It didn't help. Okay. What did she just say?
いつものやつある？
Do you have any of the usual stuff?
はいよ取ってくるから待っと
Of
い
course
て
I do. I'll get some, so just wait right there. As Granny disappeared into the back, Hikari headed over to a large dog lounging at the side of the shop.
タロー。
Taro.
Brr.
Oh wow. The dog lazily turned his head toward Hikari. So this is Taro. He really was huge. From the looks of him, I was sure he had German Shepherd of blood somewhere in his heritage.
怖くないよ。
He's a sweetheart. Watch. To prove her point, Hikari leaned down and gave Taro a big hug.
タロー。
Goodbye,
よし
Taro.
よし。
You're so warm. Sounds like he's growling.
あんまり構い
Yeah,
す
he
ぎる
does
と
that.
吠え
If
る
you
んだ。
mess with him too much, he'll bark too.
Akito も
You should get him too,
撫でてやんなよ。
Akito. I think I'll pass, thanks. Despite being an old dog, he had a glint to his eyes and an edge to his growl that warned me he was serious. I felt a little sorry for Takeichi after thinking about how he must have apologized to Hikari after he'd thrown his indoor shoes into Taro's doghouse.
ひかりちゃん
Hikari,
はーい。
I'm here.
はいこれパンの
Here you
耳
go, the usual bread crusts.
ありがと
Thank
い
you.
つもこんなのもらって帰ってどう
What
す
do
る
you
ん
do
だ
with
い
these things anyway?
う。ちょっとね。
Well, you know. Hikari looked so happy she took the bag stuffed full with bread crusts from
それ
Granny.
と
Alright, but take this
お食べ
too. She gave each of us a pork bun.
いいの？
Really?
サービスだよ
on the
新しい
house,
お客さんを
kiddo. Brought
連
me
れ
a
て
new
きてくれ
customer,
たから
didn't
ねその代わり
Oh,
ミ
and
ハルを
promise
あん
me
ま
you
り
won't
困
give
らせ
me
ない
Haru
で
a
やっ
hard
てお
time
く
in
れよ
school, alright?
任せ
Okay,
と
we
ね。
won't. Hikari answered happily. In reality, the top two troublemakers in our class would have had to have been Hikari and Takeichi.
ありがとうおばちゃん。
Thanks, Granny. Thank you very
気を
much.
つけて帰るんだよ
Take care going home now. Okay, I think that's where I'm gonna end it because my stream quality has decided to supremely suffer. A new save, exit. Gonna turn off the display capture so you guys don't see my thing. I'm gonna throw up the just chatting screen as I look through a couple of things. Oh hey, I got a new item in my inventory on Steam. Yeah, I don't know what the heck's been going on with my computer and why I can't seem to like stream properly.
Great. Let's see what I got. Okay, so that's... I've got 2 of the same one. Of course I did. Steam, so I bought this game on Steam, and it's got the trading cards. I'm gonna turn that one into gems. Cool, more gems. I'm gonna X out of this. See you all later.
It's time to let old things die.